The lab exploded, data was leaked, yet as the project lead, I was calmly eating instant noodles. My boyfriend, however, was going crazy with worry, calling me 800 times a day to rush me back. In my past life, when I returned, my computer was searched and found to be full of my junior's thesis. I was branded a plagiarist. My junior colleague tearfully accused me of plagiarizing her research. My boyfriend came forward and testified that I had been a habitual plagiarist since childhood. The team expelled me. The online harassment spilled over into my real life. I lost my job, fell into destitution, and sank into severe depression, ultimately ending my life by jumping from a building. Meanwhile, my boyfriend and my junior lab partner took my research paper, developed a vaccine from it, and made an absolute fortune. After being reborn, I'm done with all that. I'm heading straight to the countryside to farm. Let's see how that habitual plagiarist is going to develop the vaccine without me. 1. But the moment I handed in my resignation, my boyfriend couldn't sit still. What are you doing? You finally got into the lab. Why are you quitting? Are you out of your mind? How can you gamble with your future like this? I stared at his face, that incessantly chattering mask of feigned concern, and was instantly filled with disgust. In my previous life, I was a bioengineering researcher. The recent wave of the virus outbreak brought public attention to the vaccine our lab developed. As the lead of the vaccine development project, I naturally became the center of attention. Everyone was asking me about the progress. Determined not to let everyone down, I worked around the clock for a month, burying myself in the lab, and finally made a breakthrough in my research. I published a paper that very day to report my findings, but in an instant, instead of praise, I was met with a torrent of harsh criticism. It turned out that an hour earlier, my junior lab mate, Bai Jingjing, had already published a paper. Not only was her research topic identical to mine, but the data inside was exactly the same. Since she published first, I was automatically branded a plagiarist. The smear campaign even extended to our entire lab. Everyone was accusing us of being utterly inhumane. You have to fabricate data just to do research. Are you even human? Don't you realize this vaccine will be given to children and the elderly? Can't you imagine the consequences? How despicable. You people are a cancer on humanity. This wave of online harassment spilled over into real life. The investors pulled their funding. The advisor was driven to suicide. Everyone is blaming me for all of this. If it weren't for you, none of this would have happened. Crushed by the overwhelming pressure, I fell into a deep depression and chose to end my life on the rooftop. After being reborn, the first thing I did was quit the vaccine research project. But my boyfriend was frantic. How can you just quit after all these years of hard work? Don't you realize what it would mean for you if this vaccine is successfully developed? I know, that means I could become a top expert in this field, if you know better. Why are you still being so stubborn? Didn't you promise me? You said we'd work hard together for the benefit of all humanity. Are you really thinking of breaking that promise? Pa, how dare someone like him even mention the word promise? In my past life, when I was falsely accused of plagiarism, he was the first one to jump out and kick me while I was down. He claimed I had been a habitual plagiarist since childhood and had repeatedly asked him to cover for me. Later, for my graduation thesis, I allegedly commissioned him to purchase it at a high price from abroad. This time, he chose to come forward and set the record straight because he could no longer bear the torment of his conscience. That statement was the final nail in my coffin. I was branded a plagiarist. And what about him? He dumped me right after the scandal and got together with my junior colleague. They used my research to develop the vaccine, made an absolute fortune, then retired from the scene and moved abroad to live a life of luxury. Now that I've been reborn, why should I stay here and do all the hard work for their benefit? I might as well just leave and go live off the land in the countryside. I'd love to see how they're going to develop that vaccine without my data backing them up. 2. I handed in my resignation letter that very day. My reason was, I have to go back and help harvest the hundreds of acres of wheat on the family farm. They're completely swamped, and as the only child, I need to pitch in. It would be unfilial not to. They tried every excuse in the book to get me to stay. We're a team, you know. How can we possibly manage without you? Exactly. And we're in the critical phase of vaccine research. You can't just walk away now. That at least sounded somewhat reasonable, but my guy friend really took the cake. I don't know what got into him, but he actually tried reverse psychology. Ian, this isn't about that plagiarism incident from last time, is it? But you can't just give up because of one mistake. Do you really think leaving will make it all go away? You need to pull yourself together. That's the only way to prove your worth. I looked at him calmly and let out a non-committal, "Oh, I was literally cyberbullied to death in my past life, so I'm completely immune to that kind of talk now. In my previous life, that was the final straw." I was determined to prove myself all over again. I locked myself in the lab for a solid month. To keep my mind sharp, I drank coffee every day until I swear my blood was half caffeine. After all that intense work, I finally found the crucial breakthrough, but just as I was excitedly about to announce my findings, Bai Jingjing, like some kind of oracle, beat me to the punch yet again. The content was identical to mine. Even the wording was the same. Finally, after overcoming countless obstacles, "We've developed a prototype for the vaccine, everyone is saved." I was completely stunned, my mind went blank, I just couldn't figure it out. How did she manage to publish it before me again? It's like she can read my mind. Now that I've been reborn, I don't even want to understand. Getting out of this godforsaken place is the only thing that matters. If you can't win, can't you just run? I smashed my computer on the spot and fed all my research into the shredder. That was my way of telling everyone, I'm out of here. But, how about you help me harvest the wheat instead? My boyfriend was taken aback. I wouldn't have the first clue how to do that. Oh, really? Then what's all this hot air you're spouting? Get out of my way, you're blocking the path. I even threw away all my paper and pens, didn't keep a single thing. After finishing up, I stepped out feeling refreshed and clear-headed. I looked up just as Bai Jingjing approached, stopping me with a look of reluctance. "Ayen. Are you really leaving? We're a team, after all." Oh, look at that pitiful, reluctant expression. She's really putting on a show. Anyone who didn't know better would think we were the closest of sisters. In my past life, after my downfall, she published an article. It seemed to defend me on the surface, but every single word was a hammer driving the nail in, saying things like, "Everyone, please don't attack her like this. She's just a girl who wants to be accepted, you know. I've interacted with her a lot. I know what she's like. She just loves to imitate people. She often copies my style, the way I dress and such. Maybe this time she just didn't know where to draw the line." Those comments directly led netizens to conclude that I was not only a plagiarist but also a complete green TB*TCH. The number of people cursing me out could literally circle the earth. "You're a responsible person. Senior, I'm sure you were just joking, right?" she probed, trying to use such words to guilt-trip me, but I wasn't falling for that anymore. I gave a slight smile and patted her shoulder gently. "I'm leaving now. I'll leave the rest of the research in your hands. The hope of humanity rests on you now. Do your best." I dashed home, threw on a hat, and got straight to work. I even posted on Weibo, telling everyone I'd quit my job. From today on, I'm Su Yan, the Wheat Reaper. Also, I'm handing over full responsibility for vaccine development to Bai Jingjing. Please give her your support. I made sure to tag Bai Jingjing in the post. "Copycat, come and get me if you dare." 3. After all that maneuvering, I finally started reaping the wheat. Awesome. After a good, honest day's work, I feel completely refreshed and clear-headed. Looking back, I was such an idiot. I just couldn't see it back then. Stubbornly burying myself in the lab like a fool. Then, when I was falsely accused of plagiarism, I insisted on trying to prove my innocence, and it all blew up in my face. Life is so much better now. Just earlier, I was live streaming while harvesting wheat, even giving tips on wheat cultivation. I gained a bunch of new followers and some nice donations. But while I was perfectly at ease, my boyfriend was practically losing his mind with worry. The moment I ended my livestream, I saw 800 missed calls on my phone. I was just about to answer when I saw him huffing and puffing as he charged over. He didn't even care about his appearance, stepping right into the muddy field. Seeing me holding a sickle, his eyes nearly popped out of his head. "Ayen, you really went to the countryside." "Yeah, I'm just trying to do something for the folks back home. What's the problem with that?" "But, how could you? You know as well as I do," I said. "I know you're anxious, but just hold on. Why don't I show you the wheat from my family's field first? It's a beautiful golden color, really something to see." He brushed me off, saying, "I don't have time for that. You know this project can't stop. Everyone's waiting on you." "Oh, please, you're just buttering me up. The project ran just fine after I was gone in my past life, didn't it? It's not like either of us can't live without the other. Besides, that project is your mentor's brainchild. You wouldn't want to let your esteemed teacher down, would you? You're bringing up your advisor now." So I said, "It's fine. I already recommended Bai Jingjing to our advisor a while ago, but Jingjing is still a newcomer. After all, the moment her name was mentioned, Songzae became visibly tense, clearly being protective of her. She doesn't have any experience leading a project on her own yet. That project is so massive. What if something goes wrong? I scoffed inwardly. How could I have been so blind? How did I not see that he had moved on? It's fine, she might be new, but her skills are top-notch, promoted in a year, producing research in 2, and publishing groundbreaking papers in 3, she's a born researcher. With talent like that on the team, what's there to worry about? A mentor's life's work will never be in vain. Sweat beaded on Songzae's forehead, but even so, I knew exactly what he was so anxious about. After leaving, I contacted the media to help publicize my departure from the industry. Many netizens were mocking and sneering, believing I was simply backing out because I felt guilty about the previous plagiarism incident. Riding this wave of attention, I brought Bai Jingjing into the spotlight and showcased her impressive, formidable resume, letting everyone know that such a top-tier talent exists. After seeing it, everyone expressed their relief and approval, flocking to her Weibo to leave congratulatory comments and virtual flowers. With everyone chiming in one after another, they practically elevated her to celebrity status. What a little princess of science, holding the hope of all humanity in her hands, the beautiful girl who saves countless lives. Flattered by all those titles, Bai Jingjing was walking on air. She even went viral for a time and gave numerous interviews. In them, she spoke at great length about vaccine development. The result was that it attracted a huge number of investors to fund the lab. The supervisor was grinning from ear to ear and agreed on the spot. He immediately told Bai Jingjing to get on with the research. You're practically at the finish line anyway, given your previous progress, it shouldn't take much longer, right? Those words instantly put Bai Jingjing under immense pressure. With her half-baked skills, she struggled even with basic bacterial research, let alone developing a vaccine. I couldn't stand being cooped up in the lab for half a day, so I had Songzae come find me. They want me back, just to copy and steal my research, but I've been reborn, and my mind is clear now. Go back? Absolutely not. Besides, this is just the beginning. You'll have plenty more to worry about later. For, generally speaking, the journey from a research paper to a vaccine takes at least 3 to 5 years. What's the rush? Now, this is the normal pace. In my past life, I was driven by the fear of being labeled a plagiarist. I gritted my teeth and practically lived in the lab, which is how I managed to cut the time down so drastically. But she published so many groundbreaking papers in such a short time. Every single one was a sensation, and people had high hopes for her from the very start. How will she ever save face if she can't produce any results? But, that's far too long. I laughed. You work in the lab too, how could you not know that? He was left speechless by my retort. I know he thinks the vaccine was developed so quickly because I told him I'd found the crucial data and a breakthrough was imminent, but then Bai Jingjing, in a moment of sheer idiocy, got carried away by fame and fortune and blurted out to the media that we could develop a vaccine in just 1 month. Great, now that the boast is out there, how are we supposed to back it up? Well, of course they come to me. She sent Songzae over to fish for information, hoping I'd at least cough up some new research or ideas, anything to buy some time and get them off my back for now. Once this wave of online buzz dies down, she can just plead poor health and make a clean exit. I saw right through her little scheme from the start. I ignored it, flopping onto the couch to rub my shoulders. Man, this work is no joke. I'm so sore. Songzae's eyes lit up, and he came right over. Let me give you a massage, he said. I closed my eyes and enjoyed it. After he left, I posted a photo on my social media feed, showing him dutifully attending to me. The caption read, "The best boyfriend in the world." He came storming back in no time, demanding to know why I had posted that kind of photo. I blinked and shot back, "Why are you so mad? You're so great. Can't I just give you a compliment? You didn't have to make sure everyone knew about it." I knew exactly what he was angry about. Right after he stepped out, he got a call from Bai Jingjing. She was saying something like, "My situation is critical, and you're over there flirting with that woman. Have you no shame?" Songzae felt wronged. "What are you talking about? I'm doing all this for you. Why else would I come to this godforsaken place?" The two of them went back and forth, quite the heated exchange. After I called him out, he toned down his temper and switched to a more conciliatory approach. "Ian, you know how it is. The investors have poured a lot of money into this project. They've made it clear that if we develop the vaccine, there's a huge bonus waiting for us. To be honest, I was hoping to use that money to propose to you." Hearing that almost made me sick. In my past life, When I was being cyberbullied all over the world, the two of them made their relationship public. The photos you're sending are getting more and more cringy, each one more risque than the last. What's with the bathtub play? Or the steamy scenes of a beautiful police officer battling a vicious criminal? How utterly thrilling. And now you're talking to me about a marriage proposal. Does he even believe that himself? Ian, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I nodded, barely able to suppress a smile. Of course I believe you. I was even planning to come up with an excuse to set things up, but now they've rushed over on their own. I'm genuinely touched. It's only polite to return the favor. I really ought to give them a proper gift in return. 5. I said I was willing to make sacrifices for our love, but I already announced my retirement from the scene. It wouldn't be right to just go back now. Tell you what, how about I actually achieve something first, then make a comeback? But his anxiety was written all over his face. I get it. The investors put in real, hard cash. They expect to see tangible results, and fast, with Bai Jingjing's skill level. She doesn't even know the proper paper format. What on earth could she possibly write? What's that got to do with me? In my past life, I was falsely accused of plagiarism. I was going out of my mind with panic, desperately begging him for help. Even just to stand up and say a single word on my behalf would have been something. But him, acting like he was some big shot, he just said, all leisurely, what's the rush? I haven't even finished this game yet. Besides, getting yelled at for 1 minute is the same as getting yelled at for 2. What's the difference? So now I followed suit, patting him on the shoulder to console him. You can't rush research, especially with something like a vaccine. People's lives are at stake. What if something goes wrong? Could I live with that? Just relax. We're still young these next few years. Putting off the wedding a bit longer is no big deal. His face scrunched up, looking like he was about to cry. Ugh. His mental fortitude is just not up to par. I'm just getting started over here. I took out my phone and showed the QR code. Alright, time to transfer the money. What do you mean? He was dumbfounded, his eyes filled with a look of utter confusion. The money, of course. How am I supposed to do research with my bare hands? Well, he wasn't exactly thrilled about it, but he gritted his teeth and sent the money anyway. Afterward, he just sat there clutching his phone, sighing and groaning like he was in physical pain. I let out a dry laugh, for Bai Jingjing's sake, he could actually bring himself to transfer me money. The same guy who never once bought me a single cup of bubble tea in our entire 3-year relationship. Now that's true love. I turned around, shut the door, and now the very sight of him makes me sick. Even though I smashed the computer before I left, I had already uploaded all the core data to the cloud. Plus, after all these years of research in this field, a lot of that data is practically etched into my DNA. Getting started again is a matter of minutes. In just half a day, I've already drafted the outline of my paper. What's more, I've found the key to the vaccine. There are precedents abroad. We just need to input the sample data. He was incredibly excited, so that means we can start developing the vaccine right away. Theoretically, yes, that's correct. He nodded, praising me effusively. I knew you were the best. How about this? Let's go out for a meal today to celebrate. Sounds good. Well, since you're putting on such a dedicated performance, how could I not play along? I was watching him the whole time. He kept downing his drinks and then excused himself to go to the restroom. I knew exactly what he was doing because I had installed a camera at home. I saw him open an app on his phone and wirelessly transfer my thesis to his device right then and there. Even in my past life, I had a feeling it would be him. Although Bai Jingjing and I are in the same lab, we're in different research groups and our work schedules don't overlap. That means there must have been an intermediary. That person is Song Zhe. He has the keys to the lab and knows the progress of my thesis and the direction of my research. He even had the gall to install software on my computer. Whenever he wants, anything I write can be quickly transmitted to him. Ever since I got back to my hometown, I'd been wondering how he managed to get his hands on my thesis. As luck would have it, the car hit a bump on the road and my laptop broke down. It was only when I took it in for repairs that I discovered the little trick he'd pulled. And to think of how well I treated him. He had no money for school, so I worked to support him. When he was sick, I paid the bills. I tutored him when his grades were poor. I even paid for his goddamn funeral expenses. Later, when a spot opened up in the lab, I strongly recommended him to my advisor. He thought he just got lucky and was chosen by the professor. In reality, it was because I had been working day and night in the lab, producing research that even impressed our advisor. That's what finally made him relent and agree to let Song Zhe, that deadweight, join the team. I can't believe he would betray us like that, teaming up with Bai Jingjing to set me up. Fine, in that case, I'll give them a little present they won't forget. Did he just copy my thesis? I wonder if he noticed the critical error in there. 6. Under normal circumstances, he might have double-checked, but there's no chance of that now, with time so tight. He just uploaded it straight away. This announcement instantly cemented Bai Jingjing's legendary status. Publishing a groundbreaking paper in just 3 days, that's nothing short of divine. What's more, she officially announced on Weibo that the vaccine development is imminent. Netizens were immediately thrilled. My old man's stomach was always bothering him, but now it's better. With this vaccine, I'm sure he'll be cured in no time. Exactly, this thing is our hope. You are our savior, even more powerful than a bodhisattva. After all the praise, someone even took a cheap shot at me, calling me a total copycat. You were whining about being wronged before, but what about now? Why aren't you showing your face? See, people with real talent always prove themselves. Exactly, our Jingjing is the absolute best. That Su Yan or whatever has no shame, even copying down to the punctuation marks, and still has the nerve to call it original. Disgusting. Oh yeah, if you're so great, why don't you write a paper yourself? Go on. I dare you. Bai Jingjing liked those comments. Thank you all for your trust. I've always believed that actions speak louder than words. Furthermore, the vaccine development still needs to recruit its first batch of volunteers. I hope everyone will sign up enthusiastically when the time comes. Me, count me in. Tens of thousands signed up in under a minute, and the ways people signed up were incredibly varied. Some even submitted medical reports to prove their manliness. Someone ripped open their shirt to show off their abs, calling out, "Goddess, am I your type?" Another person posted a photo fresh out of the shower, flirting, "Be gentle with me when I get my vaccine." Okay, Bai Jingjing was basking in the adoration, even giving those comments a like, saying, now, don't be silly, science is a very serious matter." I couldn't help but laugh. The fish has finally taken the bait. Now we just wait to see how the vaccine takes. I was hunched over my computer. Finally, at 1 a.m., I found a comment. I got my vaccine this morning and I'm feeling a bit dizzy. Is anyone else having this reaction? At this point, I was so excited I covered my mouth. It's coming. The storm is about to hit. 7. In less than an hour, the comment section was flooded with replies. More and more people are starting to chime in. Don't even get me started. I felt the same way. I got so anxious after I got home. Exactly. And the diarrhea, I've had it over 20 times already. I'm completely drained. Not to mention the stomach pain. Wasn't this stuff supposed to be good for your stomach? Why is mine getting worse? After posting, they went one by one to comment on Bai Jingjing's Weibo post. At first, she remained calm and reassured them, "It's fine, it's perfectly normal for any vaccine to cause some minor reactions." She even put on a professional air and shared a set of data, stating that only 1% of people experience mild vaccine reactions, and any others that occur are within manageable limits, but that line only works on her. Nobody's fooled by that. No amount of pretty data can trump the harsh reality. Besides, they're in genuine pain. Wait, seriously, something feels off about this. Is there anyone here who knows what they're talking about? Can someone take a look? And sure enough, someone in the comments who knew their stuff pointed it out. This paper is wrong. It says only 0.5% of people would have a reaction. But she's claiming 1%. She can't possibly not know the data from her own paper. Right, exactly. How could you not know your own work? Come out and give us an explanation. After all the trust we put in you, you go and screw us over like this. Are you even human? Faced with the public outcry, Bai Jingjing was in a panic. She posted over a dozen Weibo messages in a row, promising to give everyone an explanation and urging people to stay calm, but it was all empty talk. With nothing of substance said, the situation is escalating, to the point where even the investors have started asking questions. Her academic supervisor has also begun speaking with her. All eyes are on her, under immense pressure. Bai Jingjing tearfully said, "I've been so exhausted from writing my thesis lately, my head is still spinning. Please give me a little time. I promise I'll give everyone an answer." During that time, she just shut down her Weibo account and never responded again. Meanwhile, Song Zhe was frantically banging on my door, demanding I come out. When I saw him, he was drenched in sweat and gasping for breath. Ayen, that thesis of yours." He was so flustered he could barely string a sentence together. After several attempts, he finally managed, there might be something wrong with that thesis, don't you think? I feigned surprise. How did you know? His face went pale in that instant, and he stammered. What exactly is the problem? I let out an "oh." It's nothing major, just a slight error in the data. If it were used in the vaccine, well, people would probably die. 8. At those words, his legs went weak, he gasped for air, his entire body trembling uncontrollably. How could you make such a mistake? You're usually so careful, he suddenly roared at me. I watched with amusement. What's the rush? The paper hasn't been published, who's going to know? He was instantly silenced, he looked as if he'd just swallowed a fly. I added. But I just discovered signs that my thesis was stolen, so I've also posted it online to have them help me recall it. You. His eyes widened, as if he already knew what I was going to say next. I gave him a faint smile, just to put his anxious mind at ease. I said, I also called the police. He was trembling like a leaf. Why would you do that? Why? I was robbed. Why can't I even call the police to protect my legitimate rights? I did try to report it to the police in my past life. But he stopped me. His reasoning was that it would damage our lab's reputation. On top of that, the cyberbullying was intense during that period. I was deeply depressed, and by the time the police arrived, my mental state was so unstable that gathering evidence was out of the question. I will show no mercy now. I told him that research was the product of immense personal effort. I was in the lab day and night, to meet the deadline. I lived on instant noodles for a whole week, to this day. The sight of them makes me sick. There was no one else, just me. Loneliness and solitude were my daily bread. With each successive failure, funds were being drained away. The pressure of not knowing if my research would ever yield results was suffocating. Countless nights, I broke down, burying my head in my hands and sobbing. Later, we moved to animal testing. During one sampling session, a monkey broke free, lunged at me, and bit my face hard. The sheer panic and helplessness I felt in that moment was overwhelming. But I stuck with it anyway, all to prove a point and show what I'm worth. And then, after all my hard work, someone just swoops in and takes it. The fact that I didn't kill them makes me a saint. Calling the police is nothing. You work in the lab too, so you must know how this feels, right? He was stunned into silence for a long moment, utterly speechless. I shot a cold glance, then turned and handed all the materials over to the police. I also pointed out the exact location of the error online. Specifically, lines 13 to 15 on page 16, it was a minor error, but it concerned the dosage of the vaccine. To whoever stole my paper, please be careful when using it. If not handled properly, it could cause dizziness, nausea, or diarrhea. In severe cases, it might even lead to shock. As soon as this was said, netizens immediately took notice, especially after comparing and realizing this set of data looked awfully familiar. Hey, isn't this the exact content from Bai Jingjing's thesis? Right, and they even know exactly where it's from. Could it be that she's the real author of this paper? I think that's highly likely. Just think about it. Now that this has blown up and everyone's asking Bai Jingjing, she hasn't offered a single explanation. I think she's just plain guilty. Just then, a legendary netizen stepped forward and analyzed Bai Jingjing's thesis word by word. It confirmed she was a plagiarist, putting everything else aside. For researchers, writing papers and conducting experiments go hand in hand. However, after reviewing the data published by Bai Jingjing's lab in recent years, I found her lab's consumable usage was the lowest, and she has no substantial work to show for it. How could someone of that caliber produce a thesis worthy of a core journal in such a short time? Either she's a once-in-a-century genius who can conjure papers out of thin air, or she's a plagiarist. The moment the word plagiarism was uttered, it instantly stirred up a storm. Amidst their suspicion and vitriol, they thought of me. Remember that Su Yan who was crying injustice? Oh, so you think of me now. You don't know the pain until the knife is in your own flesh. In my past life, I kept insisting I hadn't plagiarized and even presented a lot of evidence, but they wouldn't believe me. They simplistically and stubbornly believed whoever published first was the original author. I even reached out to that expert netizen in my previous life, asking him to analyze it for me from a professional standpoint. After all, when it comes to academic papers, you can tell if there's any fluff in them once you face a thesis defense, but the netizens just wouldn't buy it. They saw it as a last-ditch effort, which only intensified the online harassment. What's the point of hiring a bunch of shills? Did you think spouting some pretentious nonsense would clear you of the plagiarist label? Let me tell you, your name is mud. Even that expert netizen got dragged into it, and their life was turned upside down. now that they've experienced the vaccine side effects themselves. Their heads have finally cooled off enough to think straight. They didn't just find out I was a top student since childhood, they even dug up my published papers from abroad, even the opposing research team acknowledged my capabilities, and so on. When contrasted with Bai Jingjing's evasive attitude, the truth was crystal clear to them. Consequently, the entire internet began to condemn Bai Jingjing. The insults came flying from all directions. Wishing death upon someone's family is the polite version. A quick glance tells me it's all banned vocabulary. I couldn't help but laugh my head off. Come to think of it, in my past life, any insults were just directed at me personally, but now it's different. So many people have been genuinely hurt. In the most severe cases, people are left bedridden and barely alive. This has escalated into a full-blown societal issue, driven by the victims' families. An unprecedented wave of public outcry has erupted. You shameless hack. Plagiarist, are you that desperate for fame? You even dared to plagiarize a thesis paper. Are you treating human lives as a joke? Riding this wave of hype, I quietly put on my alt account and dropped a location pin in the comments. / Bai Jingjing's address, here you go, don't mention it. / 9. I pulled up the lab's security feed. In under 10 minutes, they were at the door. They slipped past the police, dodged the guards, and burst right into Bai Jingjing's presence. Fresh as a daisy, even if she hid in the women's restroom. They'd still drag her out and beat her up. A lab colleague tried to intervene, but was instantly shut down by a single sentence. Because of this bitch, my father is lying in the hospital, unconscious. The doctor says he might die. The colleagues were somewhat aware of Bai Jingjing's situation. Seeing it had escalated to this point, they looked at her with utter contempt and naturally didn't lift a finger to help. With no one left to protect her, Bai Jingjing was dragged out by the mob and beaten savagely. In no time, her hair was grabbed, and she was pummeled until her face was bruised and swollen, left limping as she tried to walk. Stop hitting her. Wah, please, I'm begging you, stop. She was on her knees begging for mercy, her hair a mess and her clothes half torn off. Even through the grainy surveillance footage, you could see her arms were covered in dark bruises. She must have taken a real beating, and when she cried, it was a messy, snotty affair, utterly pitiful. I don't know how this happened. I just asked my senior to help me find some reference papers to get through the lab assessment. I never thought he'd outright steal Senior Su Yan's thesis. Senior Su Yan is someone I deeply respect. If I had known this was hers, I would never have published it, not even under threat of death, to prove her innocence. She even released an audio recording from her phone. The content was, understood. I'll get Su Yan's thesis for you. The voice was identified as Song Zhe's, and just like that, all the blame was squarely shifted onto Song Zhe. I sent him the video, clicking my tongue in disapproval. See how clever she is. She's pinned all the responsibility on you. If things really go south, the worst she'll get is called clueless. But you're the one who's screwed. Besides, I've already reported it to the police. Since this involves a lot of people, it's bound to be handled with the utmost severity. Song Zhe wasn't stupid. He knew exactly what the consequences would be, and so, he couldn't hold back any longer. He stormed over to the scene to have it out with them. What a load of crap. That's not how it happened at all. She's the one who drugged me, took photos, and threatened to report me for rape if I didn't help her steal the thesis. I had no choice but to do it. I've been framed. He even played their voice recordings as proof. The content was so shocking and explicit, it left everyone speechless. None of them could have imagined that this seemingly refined and elegant research star was actually such a disgusting piece of work. Besides, I only told her to use the paper for reference. Who knew she'd mindlessly publish it directly? You can't blame me for that. Bai Jingjing was trembling with rage as she lashed back. Wasn't it you who said you'd steal your girlfriend's thesis? We'd make money together, and then run away with me once we were set. How dare you stand there playing the innocent victim? She said this while clawing at his face. Song Zhe didn't back down either and fired back. Damn it, I even ditched my girlfriend for you. And this is how you treat me? Treat you how? I saw on Su Yan's social media how eagerly you'd been waiting on her. Who knows what you're really plotting? Their back and forth escalated into a full-blown argument, with any pretense of civility completely gone. It even got to the point where they started throwing punches. Watching them tear into each other, I gave a slight smile and called the police. Officers, they've already admitted to it themselves, so, you know what to do. They were apprehended in no time. They had already confessed before even reaching the police station. The truth is, the two of them were in cahoots. conspiring to steal my thesis to sell it for a hefty sum, but neither wanted to admit fault, so they just kept blaming each other. I saw Sanzai before he was taken in. I told him with a smile, "I've known about your affair for a long time. Normally, you wouldn't have ended up like this. But I even hid out in the countryside harvesting wheat, and you still had to come chasing after me. Tell me, what is that if not asking for trouble? What a shame, you went to all that trouble for her, and she's not even grateful, she's still over there cursing you out." I tilted my chin in Bai Jingjing's direction. He turned and saw Bai Jingjing still crying to the police about how wrong she was. His face flushed red with rage. He stiffened his neck and started screaming every curse word he'd ever known. I stood up with a smile, as I passed by her. I gave the document in my hand a little shake. The enormous words "original, not plagiarized" printed on it made her pause for a moment. I said with a laugh, "You know, I should thank you for walking right into that trap, otherwise, I really wouldn't have known how to prove my innocence." "You," she trembled, unable to get the words out. I handed her a book on biology. "Use your time inside to better yourself, who knows? You might even write a paper of your own. Good luck." As soon as I finished speaking, I heard her let out a hysterical scream, and with that document proving my original work in hand, I published it online, finally clearing my name. Netizens in the comments have been leaving messages, urging me to make a comeback. I logged into the account Ian the Reaper and posted an update. "The wheat is almost ready for harvest, everyone, wait for my good news." 1 month later, I published my paper. 3 months later, I announced a new breakthrough in the vaccine's development. 6 months later, a reliable and safe vaccine was brought to market. My time has finally come. Story 2. I came out with my boyfriend. My sister knelt down and begged us, saying she was a strategist, and if she couldn't strategize Fang Ming, she would die. Then, "What kind of death do you like?" my boyfriend asked, and my sister was stunned. She probably thought I would, as I had done hundreds of times before, give everything up just by her pouting and playing the victim, even if it meant giving up my parents. But she didn't know. Fang Ming is not only a love fool but also a psychopath. He had long stopped caring about his life to chase after me. How could he let me give him up? 1. Fang Ming spoke in a casual tone. His narrow eyes flashed with a cold light, like a beast about to reveal its fangs at any moment. Lin Jiao's sobs were caught in her throat. She tentatively called out, "Fang Ming brother. You won't do that to slap. What are you? Who allowed you to call me like that?" Fang Ming slapped me, then turned to look at me, once again becoming the familiar obedient little dog. "Lon Lon, don't misunderstand, I don't know her." Lin Jiao was hit and staggered, with blood trickling from her lips. I watched coldly, curling my lips slightly, and reached out to hold Fang Ming's arm. "It's satisfying. Last lifetime, Lin Jiao was an orphan taken in by my parents, and they told me to take care of my younger sister and pay more attention to her, which I did." Lin Jiao used her excellent tea-making skills to make me completely lost. I willingly gave her everything, even when she took away everything that should have been mine. I still felt sorry for her. I silently moved out of my room, and I handed over my parents to her with both hands. The end result was that they protected Lin Jiao. Looking at me with disappointment, Lin Wanwan. "We don't have a daughter as wicked as you." How ridiculous. Every time Lin Jiao makes a mistake, she makes me take the blame for her. They never ask for the truth, only blame me, and I was foolish enough to believe Lin Jiao's lies, saying that love is deep, so the scolding is severe. In the end, my parents became her parents. She even went after my boyfriend, making me watch as they had sex. I will never forget her face that day. "Sister, I am the protagonist of this world. You are just a background character. It's your duty to be mine, but thanks anyway, because my system is based on burning your luck. The more you suffer, the better I get." Haha, you're really stupid. I really wish I could tear her apart. Despicable woman. My parents were as if blind, unable to see the torment she was putting me through, or perhaps they saw it but didn't want to care. A single moment of death. Then opening my eyes again, I have returned to a time when nothing had happened yet. This life, I will no longer sacrifice anything for that worthless family bond, kick my previous scoundrel, then hold hands with Fang Ming. Fang Ming is the notorious Fang family group's perverted prince, known for his frenzied personality, but when we started dating, I found out he's just a complete love fool. I really love him. This time, to ignite my luck, Lin Jiao has come again, crying broken-hearted at my feet, but I just want to laugh, I have to say. She does have a delicate and fragile beauty, especially endearing, but unfortunately, I only have endless hatred for her. I can't feel any pity, Fong Ming, seeing that I hadn't answered for a long time, suddenly became flustered. Wan, believe me, she intentionally called me like that. I only have you in my heart. Do you want to see my sincerity? He really took out a dagger. I felt my eyelid twitch, the symptoms of a love-struck brain and a madman in the late stage, indeed not someone ordinary could handle. Fortunately, I'm not an ordinary person. I get dizzy from blood. I gave a disdainful glance at the dagger, and he immediately put it away. Wan says what? That's what I do. Does it feel good in your heart? Do you want me to kick her again? Fong Ming spoke in a relaxed tone, as if he was talking about what to have for lunch. What a great idea. However, Lin Jiao, who was on her knees, wasn't willing, jumped up quickly, crying and running. You two are all crazy. All of you are fucking crazy. Humph, that's all it takes to scare you. So fond of stealing my things. Go ahead and steal more. Fong Ming was reluctant to see me off, wanting to pour her heart out to me. She pulled me at the entrance, not letting me go. If it weren't for me putting on a serious face, she probably wouldn't have let go. Looking at the villa in front of me, I took a deep breath. A flicker of interest appeared in my eyes. Mom and Dad, I'm back. Have you prepared to face my revenge? As soon as I stepped into the Lin family living room, a teacup flew towards me, accompanied by a shout. How dare you come back? Looking at a glance, Lin Jiao was crying pitifully in her mother's arms, while my father was full of anger. I dodged the teacup. Why don't you have any face? I looked at Lin Jiao with sarcasm. Is she still planning to pull the same trick again in this lifetime? I no longer care about family ties, but I don't mind letting everyone see her green tea face, too. How dare you speak to your father like that? Lin Qihai was so angry that he trembled and couldn't speak, while my mother, Zhou Wan, started scolding me. Her scarlet lips moved as she spoke, all about why I didn't take good care of Lin Jiao, letting her get beaten, and so on. I couldn't help but sneer. I just sat opposite them as a family of three and said, have you ever asked why she got beaten? Lin Wan, what kind of attitude is that? My mother spoke sharply. I raised an eyebrow. What? You didn't ask? Are you ashamed and angry? She's still the same as in the previous life. Whenever Lin Jiao cries, she immediately defends Lin Jiao without asking for the details. It's as if Lin Jiao were really her own daughter. What could Jiao Jiao have done wrong? Zhou Wan angrily stared at me. As her older sister, you must protect her no matter what the situation is. Haha, she's always been like this. The older sister should always give in to the younger sister. The younger sister has suffered outside, so all the good things and fun things should be given to her. As a result, everything that was mine was given to Lin Jiao, and I ended up dying. I'm not her mother. Glanced sarcastically at the mother and daughter hugging. Which law says an older sister has to take the beating for her younger sister? Oh, by the way, you don't know why she got beaten, do you? I glanced at the sobbing Lin Jiao, snorted, and said, she tried to seduce my boyfriend and failed, then got taught a lesson. That's what she deserves. Your boyfriend, not married, so it doesn't count. If Jiao Jiao likes him, you should give him to Jiao Jiao. Even though I explained the situation, Zhou Wan argued passionately, as if it was my fault. I was shocked at her values. They say Fong Ming is a psychopath, but how does he compare to Zhou Wan? What she said was barely human words. Would she die if I told her to? I grabbed the teacup and threw it at Lin Jiao's face. My aim was better than Lin Qihai's, and I hit Lin Jiao right in the face, making her cry loudly and hold it. You, Zhou Wan was furious and accused Lin Qihai beside her. You just watch as Jiao Jiao gets hit, right? Why don't you stop her? So-called stopping was just met with violence. However, while he was unfastening his belt, I had already called Fong Ming. Where are you? My parents said that Lin Jiao likes you. I need to step aside. I intentionally added some sobbing to my voice, and what Fong Ming did was none of my business. Indeed, wait for me 3 minutes. Fong Ming should not have gone far yet. He drove into the Lin family's house with a fierce expression, full of red rage. Wan, are you okay? I nodded towards Lin Qihai. You saw it too. It's all my parents' idea. The belt is still in his hand. I'm really scared. Fong Ming. Lin Qihai was still in a daze. Zhou Wan and Lin Jiao were already stunned. Who has ever seen a sports car speeding in and crashing into the living room in real life? Lin Qihai could still keep a calm face, but his voice was fierce and his words were threatening. Who is this wild kid? How dare he? Wild kid? Fong Ming smiled. His naturally slender eyebrows and peach blossom eyes made him look like a demon, and when he smiled, he was even more charming, but the words he spoke were chilling. how come you don't recognize me? Let me introduce myself, I'm Fang Ming. Fang Ming's self-introduction had just ended, and Lin Qihai's face was already dark. Everyone has heard of Fang Ming's reputation, the son of the Fang family group. A hot-tempered and notorious pervert. Yes, it's you. Lin Qihai seemed to just now recognize Fang Ming's face. Fang Ming checked himself again, making sure there were no wounds on me, then slowly got up and looked at Lin Qihai. Were you about to hit Wan? He turned around and dialed a phone call. Dad, get the compensation ready. I'm about to do something big. Hiss, I've never seen someone so brazen before, but I really like it. Zhou Wan and Lin Jiao screamed in fear. Fang Ming, when he went crazy, was truly fearless and would act without hesitation. His eyes were bloodshot, and he approached with a killing intent. Lin Qihai also screamed in fear. Wait, I have something to say. It's all a misunderstanding. I didn't force Lin Wanwan to do anything. We admit the two of you are a couple. Fang Ming stopped in his tracks. He tilted his head, dazedly looking at me. Wanwan, should we still kill him? Kill what kill? Killing people is illegal. Making them run away in fear is enough for me to savor for a long time. I get dizzy from blood. Fang Ming quickly withdrew his hand and sat down beside me obediently. Then what do you want to do? How about directly making the Lin family go bankrupt? This guy may be crazy, but his hair is thicker than the waist of the Lin family. I hesitated. Go bankrupt? They actually want to break us up, to separate the two of us. Then let them go and pick up the scraps. As soon as the word separate was mentioned, Fang Ming bristled, seeing him actually call someone to bring down Lin's company. Lin Qihai cried, I'm afraid, I wish you two to be together for all eternity. I didn't say a word, and looked at Zhou Wan and Lin Jiao meaningfully. Lin Qihai indeed didn't disappoint me. Because of my concern for the company, my intention was for the two of them to give me assurances. But he took it a step further, and slapped the mother and daughter hard, drawing blood from their mouths. I guarantee I will keep a close eye on the two of them. The mother and daughter didn't dare to cry. I let out a light sigh and said lazily, all right, since your sincerity is so full, then let's just go with that for now. With Fang Ming's intimidation, they dare not act recklessly. Lin Qihai visibly relaxed, but he didn't know. I had gone mad too. When sending Fang Ming off, I smiled and said, promise me, if I die in the Lin family, you'll kill them to avenge me. Okay, they dare to harm you. Not to mention dying. Even if you got hurt, I would make them pay with their lives. Fang Ming was indeed the most suitable person for me. I gave him a sweet kiss, and he left in a satisfied manner in his broken-down sports car. As I turned around, I saw the terrified Lin family. Their eyes seemed to be saying, why haven't you left yet? I laughed, showing my white teeth. Didn't you guys ever see me before? This life, I will make sure you only see me. Where do you think you're going? Let's chat. The Lin family wanted to leave, but I lazily spoke up. Zhou Wan still wanted to act like a mother in front of me, and she scolded me, you're going too far. Oh, I looked at Lin Qihai. He bit his lip and without hesitation slapped Zhou Wan. Zhou Wan cried after being hit, and scolded me for being heartless, saying I should have been drowned at birth. I just took out my earplug and listened. Mr. Lin, you're really annoying. It's just too noisy. She once unhesitatingly offered her most filial and obedient daughter to Lin Jiao, and now she still expects me to be obedient. Lin Qihai remained silent, then gave another slap. Zhou Wan finally fell silent. I gave her a cold glance, my eyes landing on Lin Jiao. Give back my room. Take back everything I gave you and return it to me. From childhood, Lin Jiao has always liked my things, and I couldn't refuse. On one hand, I felt really sorry for this girl, and on the other hand, Zhou Wan was doing everything she could to make me step down. She usually criticized me to the point of being worthless. She has high expectations of me, but never asked such things from Lin Jiao. If I wanted something from Lin Jiao, that would be me being shameless, even wanting my sister's things. Lin Jiao was crying and went to move things. That was originally my room. But Lin Jiao said she was uncomfortable living there, and said she was really envious of the sister being able to live in a spacious and comfortable room. So Zhou Wan switched our rooms. Actually, I was quite confused at that time. If Lin Jiao was uncomfortable living in that room, did I really feel comfortable? Today, I really feel comfortable. Zhou Wan was still fighting and crying with Lin Qihai. You let her act like this. Not treating me as a person. Lin Qihai, you said you love me the most, but you hit me for her. I can't go on with you anymore. They were fighting downstairs, and I stood in the third-floor corridor openly eavesdropping. Confused all the way, Is Zhou Wan in the late stage of insanity? What's that supposed to mean? Could it be that I was adopted? I kept a watchful eye. When no one was looking, I went to the master bedroom and found the hair of Lin Qihai and Zhou Wan, and took them for a paternity test. When I came back, the room had already been cleaned up. Lin Jiao's eyes were swollen from crying. Sister, you were supposed to stay in my room. Now, stop. I laughed coldly. This is my room in the first place. Aren't you an orphan? Then why do you really think this is your home? Lin Jiao's face suddenly turned pale, and she looked at Zhou Wan with a pitiful expression. But I don't know what Lin Qihai told her. She didn't speak up for Lin Jiao as she used to, despite her obvious resentment. Oh right. I'm used to living in my own room, so this one can just stay empty. The room has been tidied up, but I just don't want to move in. Glancing at Lin Jiao and Zhou Wan who were stunned, I felt much better and went back to my room. I'm just playing around, making them both angry. 5. The atmosphere in the Lin family became strange. Lin Qihai probably warned Zhou Wan and Lin Jiao, and the two of them started avoiding me, not speaking a word to me. But this is so boring, isn't it? Playing games should be lively and fun, so I started ordering them around. Lin Jiao, I want some water. Mrs. Lin, I want some fruit. Within 3 seconds, they glared at me, but none of them dared to argue, and quickly brought the things to my hand. But this isn't enough. Lin Jiao, your new makeup looks nice, give it to me. I said it confidently, and she turned red with anger, but after being glared at by Lin Qihai, she still obediently gave it to me. I flipped through it carelessly and threw it into the trash. It's not that great after all. Lin Wanwan, you're going too far. She was so angry that her eyes welled up. I raised my eyebrows in surprise and said, you used to throw my things like that before. How come I only threw a box of cosmetics at you, and you can't take it? How come you didn't think about the cycle of fate before? Lin Jiao stopped crying and sniffled into Zhou Wan's arms. You hold a grudge over every little thing. Zhou Wan stared at me coldly and said, Jiao Jiao used your things, that's your fortune. Are you still holding a grudge against her? What the hell? What kind of logic is that? Wan, don't say things too far. Lin Qihai rarely said a word to her, then turned back and spoke earnestly. Wan, we are still a family. You've beaten her, and you've vented your anger. From now on, we can be back to normal. Tell Fangming to stop staring at our company. Okay, I laughed slyly. You gave Lin Jiao shares, right? I want some too. Once it's my own company, Fangming certainly won't keep an eye on it. Would the Fang family miss this amount of money? Zhou Wan immediately spoke out in opposition. This money given to you is just adding to the Fang family's wealth. It would be better to leave it for Lin Jiao. Lin Jiao. She only recognizes Lin Jiao in her heart, doesn't she? Does Lin Jiao not get married if you give her shares? Isn't it also taking them to someone else's home? I scolded back with a cold face. If you don't want to give it, that's fine. I don't care anyway. I pretended to call Fangming, but if I can't get it, no one else will either. Here. Before the phone call was even made, Lin Qihai agreed. There seemed to be a hint of guilt in his eyes. I should have given you the shares all along. Lin Qihai, Zhou Wan shouted angrily. You promised me you would leave Lincher to Jiao Jiao. Why are you favoring Lin Wanwan again? Me? Does she have some misunderstanding about favoritism? Considering Lin Qihai's actions over the years, can that even be called favoritism towards me? 6. Lin Qihai was always obedient to Zhou Wan. For these years, whatever attitude Zhou Wan had towards me, he treated me the same way, never questioning the reasons or right and wrong. So I've gotten used to being bullied by my real mom, and not being able to seek help from my real dad. But today, he defied Zhou Wan for the first time. At first, he said that I and Lin Jiao would each hold half of the Lin family's shares, but Zhou Wan didn't agree, so he made me and Lin Jiao each hold 20%, even with this fair arrangement. Zhou Wan still had a big fight with Lin Qihai. I'm just confused. Is she protecting Lin Jiao too much? Are they actually the real mother and daughter? The previous test results have come back, and I really am their biological child, but do I look like one? I secretly had Lin Jiao and my parents tested again. The results came back, which was unexpected. Lin Jiao is Zhou Wan's biological daughter, but has no blood relation with Lin Qihai, so Lin Qihai is basically a stepfather. He should know. Right, there are too many mysteries. So I hired a private detective to investigate Zhou Wan's affairs. When I got home, Lin Jiao came to my door. She started crying to me right away. Sister, please save me. I am the protagonist of this world. If I can't get your boyfriend, I will die. What the hell? do you think I'm stupid, seeing her like this? It's because I've been too comfortable lately, and she's getting desperate because she can't benefit from my luck anymore. So sad." I coldly looked at her and said. "Then go find Fang Ming yourself. Why are you coming to me?" I glanced at her and laughed. "Do you really think I'm generous enough to get your boyfriend drunk and send him to your bed? Can you even be worthy?" Fang Ming is indeed a psychopath, but he is very good to me. As long as he doesn't become that dead scoundrel from last time and climb into Lin Jiao's bed, I will never give up on him. Obstinately stubborn, it's not working. Lin Jiao became angry. "I am the protagonist of this world. You, such a background character, must listen to me. Is that so? Then try it yourself, must do it." She really thinks she's the boss of the world. The fact proves that she has no power to control people's hearts, only able to look with red eyes full of hatred. Lin Wanwan, if you dare to oppose the protagonist, you will face the consequences. Once I have conquered Fang Ming, I'll tell him to return all the humiliations you have made me suffer tenfold. Oh my, I'm so scared. He looked at her with contempt, then waved his phone that he had secretly called. "Fang Ming, did you hear that? We can't get along anymore. Here, I wish you and Lin Jiao a lifetime of happiness. I'll kill her." A man's angry voice came out of the phone. "Give me the location." Phew, I like it when it's straightforward. But Lin Jiao turned pale and rushed out of my room in a panic. I scolded Fang Ming. You scared her away by being so aggressive. Why didn't you slap her face like last time? It would have been fine to kick her around until she's almost dead. We are civilized people. 7. Lin Jiao no longer dares to mention the guidebook thing with me, but she started to secretly and unintentionally try to get close to Fang Ming. Since Fang Ming had a fit at the Lin family once, he has become a regular guest at the Lin family, often coming to see me. Lin Qihai and Zhou Wan didn't dare to stop him. Lin Jiao thus found an opportunity, sitting next to him or deliberately tripping to try to get into his arms, but every time, Fang Ming would kick her away rudely. This love-struck old man even came to complain to me. "Wan, she's so annoying. Can you move out? I'll let you spend all my money, wherever you want to live, just don't live with that fangirl." Lin Jiao just happened to come over with some fruits. His face froze. I couldn't help but laugh. "She's my source of happiness. If I move out, what's the point?" "Whatever you say." Fang Ming was very obedient, carefully peeling and feeding me grapes, while Lin Jiao smiled nervously. "Fang Xiao, I advise you not to even think about it." Fang Ming didn't even lift his eyes. He took a tissue to carefully wipe my lips, completely ignoring Lin Jiao. I curled my lips and gave Fang Ming a kiss. "Well done. Compared to that dead jerk, he is just a role model for male virtue." But I didn't expect that when I was shopping with Fang Ming, I would run into Lin Jiao and Zhao Mingjia. The two of them came out of the luxury store holding hands. When they saw me and Fang Ming, they both clearly froze for a moment. "Fang Xiao, sister, you said yesterday you wanted to chase Fang Ming, and today you're holding someone else's hand." I calmly glanced at Zhao Mingjia. "Looking at that jerk really hurts my eyes. In the past life, he chased me relentlessly, and once he had me, he rolled in bed with Lin Jiao. In this life, the two of them are still together, and they truly deserve to be called true love." Lin Jiao's words left her speechless, and she turned red with anger. I smiled calmly. "It's just that her taste is not very good. Even if she can't seduce my boyfriend, she should find someone who looks good on camera. What's wrong with being a rich kid? His family is even worse than the Lin family, let alone the Fang family." Wan, are you praising me?" Fang Ming ignored the two of them. His peach blossom eyes focused on me, sparkling as if filled with stars. I smiled and nodded, then gave him a kiss. Of course, good men are all coaxed out of by being spoiled. The crazy young master was like he had eaten honey, his eyebrows and corners of his eyes full of suppressed smiles. He waved his hand and said, "Wan, I'll pay for all your expenses today." He set up the stage, so I naturally had to sing well on this stage. Not a private room, but I bought the most expensive bags in the store that Lin Jiao just came out of, and smiled at her. "Sister, did your boyfriend buy you such nice bags?" Lin Jiao and Zhao Mingjia were both flustered. The person surnamed Zhao was even shameless. "Lin Wan, I didn't expect you to still be a gold digger." "Humph, such a fresh logic." I laughed. "So, if you're poor, you're right, you couldn't afford such an expensive bag for Lin Jiao," making her lose face in front of me. "And then you criticize me for being materialistic. Not having money is not having money. Why pretend to be a big wolf?" Moreover, Fang Ming was also unhappy with what he heard. "What do you mean by materialistic? All my money is earned for Wan to spend. and the more she spends, the happier I am. Listen, such a level of ideological awareness, which woman wouldn't love? If it weren't for Zhao Mingjie's persistent chasing in my previous life, and Fang Ming's high standards, I would definitely have taken him first. Sister, when dating a boyfriend, you must keep your eyes wide open and don't mistake a scumbag for a treasure, I sneered and walked away confidently with Fang Ming. But we hadn't gone far when I heard Lin Jiao and Zhao Mingjie arguing. I turned around to look and just saw Zhao Mingjie slap Lin Jiao across the face, then walk away angrily. Oh, Lin Jiao isn't the main character of the world. How come she's now so down and out that she can't even handle a little lapdog? Humph. Without my luck, she's really just a background character. 8. I haven't forgotten Zhao Mingjie's disgusting actions from last time. Not following male virtue deserves to be punished. Fang Ming, I hate Zhao Mingjie. Think of a way to ask his whole family to collect trash. I don't have a way to trouble Zhao Mingjie. But Fang Ming can just take action. Leave it to me. He agreed and kindly continued shopping with me. He was nice to me, and I also bought quite a few things for him. Of course, he insisted on paying. Even so, he was very happy. That shows that Wan has me in her heart. He carefully put everything away, and I teased him. Are you trying to seduce yourself? It was all his money. If it can make Wan love me a little more, any way of seducing is okay. Under the night, his eyes held starlight. Too beautiful, I couldn't help but stand on my toes and kiss him. I love you so much. Reincarnation was an unexpected thing. Even now, I still feel grateful to heaven for bringing Fang Ming into my life. I love you more, he mumbled, wrapping his arms tightly around my waist and deepening the kiss. After a long time, he finally let go of me reluctantly. Lan, I really want to hide you, so that no one can take you away from me. As long as you don't leave, I won't abandon you. I hugged him tightly. I used to think sweet words were annoying, but when love is at its peak, it seems only sweet words can truly express my heart. It just came out naturally and smoothly. Let me carry you home, he suddenly spoke, and actually crouched down. I laughed. There's still a long way to go. What if you get tired? Even if I stop and start, I can still carry you home, he insisted, so I had no choice but to get on his back. You're too light. Fang Ming carried me effortlessly, but his tone was very serious. Wan, is the Lin family not treating you well? Why do you say that? They wanted to hit you, and they made you thin by starving you. I was on Fang Ming's back, watching the neon lights by the road waver, listening to his words, and I smiled. I guess so. In my memory, Zhou Wan never smiled at me, always looking critical and hostile. If it weren't for the DNA test, I would have doubted whether we had an unbreakable hatred. Of course, I never expected that Lin Jiao was also her biological daughter. They are both related, so it makes sense that she would care for Lin Jiao. But why? She only cares for Lin Jiao. I told Fang Ming about the DNA test, and he was a bit surprised. Half-siblings, infidelity during marriage. The wording is precise. I nodded. I don't know if Lin Qihai knew about this. I only remember that it was the two of them who brought Lin Jiao home together. They even acted as if it were a big deal, saying that they adopted Lin Jiao for me, that Lin Jiao could protect me from disasters, but it was me who ended up being killed. Also, who is Lin Jiao's biological father? The private detective hasn't had an answer yet. I don't know where they've gotten to. Fang Ming paused for a moment. I'll have someone check. That would be very good. The night breeze was gentle. I lay on Fang Ming's back, chatting with him lazily. He carried me, walking firmly towards home. With him here, I feel safe. 9. When I woke up, the morning light was faint. There was a warm, big pillow beside me, and I couldn't help but snuggle into his arms. He let out a low groan and tightened his grip around my waist. I can't sleep anymore, I mumbled, wriggling like a caterpillar in his arms. I don't know how I fell asleep last night. Anyway, this morning when I woke up, I not only returned to Lin's room, but he was also in my bed. Lan, don't move. His groan became deeper, and the hand around my waist tightened even more. It seemed as if he wanted to merge me into his blood. I'm afraid you'll regret it. A passionate kiss landed on my forehead, and those flirtatious eyes, which didn't need to smile, stared at me intently, as if holding back something. I blinked. But you were in my room last night. Fang Ming thought I didn't like it, and lowered his eyes with guilt, apologizing. I'm sorry. After carrying you back to your room last night, I just fell asleep from exhaustion, and then, I kissed his lips, swallowing his apology. Fool. Let others say whatever they want. We don't need to care about others' opinions. When the lightning and fire collided, he was drenched in sweat, but he still asked me, Lon Lon, are you sure it's okay? I just want to ask, did you really carry me home step by step last night? Yes, I want to carry you for a lifetime. A man who is erratic and unpredictable in public. But a pure-hearted boy in front of me, with dark, peach-like eyes filled with a bit of shyness. I smiled and moved towards him. He is a man known for his decisive and efficient business style, hailed as a business genius. He is the so-called madman who, without considering his own safety, drove into the Lin family's territory just to reach me as quickly as possible. He is the one who would spend a fortune for me. The one who can tie my shoes, feed me, and carry me home step by step, a tender lover. If such a man isn't worth loving, then what is love in this world? I slept with Fong Ming until noon. He was extremely gentle with me, helped me get dressed and washed up, then carried me downstairs. I teased him, are you going to keep me on your back, making me rely on you for the rest of my life? If I could, I really would. He laughed softly and shook his head, but the facts show that even if you gave me the chance, my own physical condition wouldn't allow it. His awareness is quite clear. We chatted and laughed as we went downstairs, and he finally put me down on the living room sofa. Zhou Wan frowned and scolded, what kind of example is this? Do you want to pick up trash? I no longer had any expectations for her, and I coldly retorted, only to see her glaring at me. Lin Qihai then pulled her slightly. This expression made me extremely curious. Does Lin Qihai know about Lin Jiao's situation? I'll go make you breakfast. Fong Ming ignored them and went to the kitchen on his own. I pretended not to see Lin Jiao following me. She had been rejected so many times, yet she still didn't give up. Within 2 minutes, Lin Jiao fled in a panic. Fong Ming chased out, and his affectionate peach-shaped eyes were now as sharp and cold as blades. I'll let you die, Lin Jiao cried in fear. She ran to Zhou Wan's side, and I stopped Fong Ming. When I asked, I found out that Lin Jiao had actually tried to hug him from behind, which made him want to hit her. Wan, she touched my waist. My crazy boss was extremely upset. I grabbed a fruit tray and threw it at Lin Jiao. She looked terrified, while I only felt contempt and scorn. Shameless thing, with such despicable behavior, does she also deserve to be the main character of the world? I'm dying laughing. 10. I took Fong Ming away. I took him to the hotel to take a good shower, and only then did he dare to be upset and hold me. Wan, you don't despise me anymore, do you? I never despised him, it's just that a well-behaved child was touched by a dirty hand, and I couldn't stand it without washing. No, I wrapped my arms around his slim waist. He did better than many people. Wan, in the low, breathing sound, there was a tempting allure. It had been a long time since he satisfied his craving. He went to work, and I, remembering Lin Qihai's promise of shares, also went to Lin's company. I didn't work at Lin's company, and before, the Lin family didn't allow me to go there, so the receptionist wouldn't let me go up the stairs. Since I couldn't go up, I called Lin Qihai. Lon, I'm sorry. He seemed very tired. You already got the shares, so I thought. So he once again favored Lin Jiao. I found it amusing. But I also suddenly understood. Lin Qihai, you know Lin Jiao is Zhou Wan's biological daughter. Without that relationship, Lin Qihai wouldn't have so easily handed over the company, nor would he have allowed Zhou Wan to favor Lin Jiao. He really has deep feelings for Zhou Wan, deep enough that even I, his real daughter with Zhou Wan, am not as important as his stepdaughter. Wan, this is adult matters, don't interfere. Maybe he hit a sensitive spot. He became irritable. But I hung up the phone, not wanting to hear his words that only hurt me. I have also witnessed a beautiful love, but even if I try to put myself in his shoes, I can't do what Lin Qihai did, to bully his own child for the woman he loves deeply. This is really a collapse of my values, beyond common understanding. Lin Jiao came in a furious manner. Lin Wan, the Lin family now belongs to me. You leave immediately. She spoke as if dismissing a cat or a dog, and after finishing her words, she coldly ordered the security guards to kick me out. I turned around and slapped him. Yours, Lin Jiao. Think carefully before you speak. Since Lin Qihai loved Zhou Wan to the point of losing his sense, I would have to take matters into my own hands. The hall exploded. How could you hit me? Who is this crazy woman? Call the police immediately. People rushed over, and I even saw Zhao Mingjie stepping into the hall, but I just coldly curled my lips. I really am a madwoman. How could someone raised in such an environment not be crazy? It's you again. Zhao Mingjie rushed over to protect Lin Jiao and spoke to me in an angry tone. I've long heard that you like to bully Jiao, and it's indeed true. What the hell does he know? I didn't hold back and beat him as well. The crowd erupted again, and some security guards rushed over to grab me. I glanced at them and said, "Do you all have dog eyes? Lin Jiao is the one who usurped the nest, who dares to touch me?" Lin Jiao was brought into the Lin family by Zhou Wan. She was never a member of the Lin family. The security guards were at a loss and called the police, but Zhao Mingjie was different. He pointed at my nose, as if he hadn't beaten Lin Jiao in the luxury store back then. "You scum, how dare you talk to our Lin Jiao like that? You guys, Lin Jiao. Back then, you couldn't come up with money to buy things, so you took your anger out on Lin Jiao." I laughed. "Now that your family is bankrupt, you want to attach yourself to the Lin family's leg. It's you." Zhao Mingjie was furious. "It's you who made the Zhao family collapse." He's not that stupid after all." I played with my phone. "Maybe I should call Fang Ming. I don't want the Lin family anymore. After all, I've already sold my shares at the peak and cashed out. Let them all go scavenge for scraps, which would also be a favor to their love. I just want fairness, if there's none. Then don't blame me for turning the table and breaking the deal." 11. Zhao Mingjie looked very angry. He stared at me with a sinister look and said, "Lin Wanjian, I only said a few words to you, and you already sent people to deal with me. Aren't you all saying I'm a crazy woman?" I didn't deny it, and smiled at him. "Crazy people don't act according to reason. The grudges from my past life haven't been settled yet. And he's already rushing to provoke me. If he's determined to die, then I'll grant his wish. Even if you ruin Zhao's family, you can't destroy Lin's company." Lin Jiao was shouting at me while calling Lin Qihai. "You sold the shares of Lin's company. Lin's bankruptcy is bound to happen. Why not sell it before it's all gone?" I asked Lin Qihai for shares. She probably wouldn't really think the company is mine. If Fang Ming didn't let Lin's go bankrupt, would she? Laughed to death. "My purpose of reincarnation is to let these people suffer day and night." After I finished speaking, Lin Jiao's face turned pale. I shrugged indifferently. "I'm not afraid of picking up trash. My life is worthless. It should have been ashes last time. Since heaven didn't let me die, it gave me another chance. Why should I care about my life? I just want them to get their comeuppance." While speaking, Fang Ming and the police arrived at Lin's at the same time, followed by Lin Qihai in a hurry. I proactively confessed to the police, "I'm sorry. They insulted me so much that I lost my temper and slapped them both. It's just a small matter. That's not just 2 slaps." Zhao Mingjie's face was red and blue, almost crying. "She sent people to destroy my business, and it led to my family's bankruptcy. You should arrest her and put her in jail." Fang Ming lightly laughed, his eyes sharp and cold. "It's just business competition. You just weren't good enough. How come? You can't handle business warfare, and you still want to accuse me?" "Oh, I like what Fang Ming said. It was just to let Zhao Mingjie know the truth, but he was so angry he could do nothing about it. It's just healthy business competition, and it's not illegal." Zhao Mingjie's face turned ashen, staggering away in a daze. No one mentioned arresting anyone again, and the police left. Lin Qihai looked at me with a sorrowful expression. Wan, are you really going to make it a fight to the death?" "No." I shook my head. Before he could be happy, he mocked. "It's you people who will die. The net won't break, but we are your relatives. That's even more ridiculous." I sneered. "Lin Qihai, ask yourself, did you ever regard me as your daughter? You were not kind, so I won't be either. I've already sent someone to handle it." I looked at Fang Ming, and Fang Ming understood, gently saying. He wrapped his big hand around my waist, not letting go for a moment. The phone call came quickly. "The mall is a war without gunshots. Once attacked, it will also be a bloodbath." After Lin Qihai answered the phone, he slumped into the chair, and Lin Jiao guessed the outcome, angrily rushing forward to tear at me. But as soon as she got close, she was kicked away by Fang Ming. "Lin Wanan, you will get your comeuppance." She fell to the ground, screaming in agony, her appearance like that of a ghost. I laughed lightly. "Lin Jiao, it seems your strategy mission can't be completed, because my sister will live a happy life." 12. The Lin family is bankrupt. Many employees of the Lin family have lost their jobs. Fortunately, I used the money from selling 20% of the Lin family's shares to invest in my friend's business, which also created many job positions. Fang Ming's business has been growing bigger and bigger every day, and they are constantly hiring. In this way, it has relieved a lot of people's unemployment pressure. Zhou Wan called me a money waster and a troublemaker, and even wanted to kill me, but she didn't have the strength to do so. I went home, took what I needed, and moved to my own small apartment to live a quiet life. Fang Ming insisted on living with me. I laughed at him. "What about your big villa and large flat? Without you, They are just useless places. He didn't think the small apartment would lower his status. With my consent, he happily moved in, and the kitchen became his territory. I also received the news. The Zhao family went bankrupt and moved overseas, saying they would never come back. It was said that before moving, Zhao Mingjia was dragged into a dark alley with a sack over his head and beaten up badly, even losing his teeth. As for the Lin family, they have already entered the stage of bankruptcy liquidation. Zhou Wan keeps calling me and scolding me, and I'm just bored, so I specifically put it on speakerphone to enjoy her flustered look. Sometimes I push back at her a bit, just for the fun of it, but I didn't expect that Lin Jiao would twist the facts and post everything online. In an instant, not only did netizens curse me, but Fang Ming was also dragged into the hot search, and the stock of Fang's group even plummeted sharply. You're really a bother, and you've even dragged me into it. I was lying on the lazy sofa in the balcony scrolling through the hot search, while Fang Ming was watering the flowers I had kept. He looked at me and smiled. I like being bothered by you. Which one are you? I scolded him, and he laughed. Only when you bother me can I show my importance to you. Otherwise, what's the difference between us and strangers? Huh, that actually makes sense. I read the hot search to him, and then said, Dear Mr. Fang, what should we do now? Hit her face. Fang Ming leaned in for a quick kiss. I've already sent people to find evidence of Lin family's mistreatment of you, and the conclusion will come soon. Having a boyfriend with superpowers is so convenient. Everything is worry-free. The evidence was collected smoothly. For these years, Lin Jiao has often taken things from me, and the fact that the Lin family treated me harshly is known to all friends and relatives. Once the evidence was posted, the public opinion quickly changed. Lin Jiao called me, but she was crying and shouting to Fang Ming, Lin Wanwan is just a pawn. The two of us are the perfect match. I raised an eyebrow. Fool, after so long, you still haven't realized the situation. What are you? In my world, Lin Wannan is the only female lead, the woman I truly admire. Fang Ming spoke back very smoothly, which I really agree with. However, Lin Jiao screamed, Do you understand anything? She's using you to deal with the Lin family. She doesn't really like you. Is that so? I'm willing. I thought Fang Ming would be angry, but after he spoke back to Lin Jiao, he just looked at me with a sad expression. I smiled and kissed his lips. Believe her or believe me. Of course you. I love you. I initially approached him to deal with the Lin family, but falling in love with him while dealing with the Lin family is not illegal. I knew it. He showed a little pride, ignoring everyone around us as he displayed our love. Lin Jiao was calling from my phone, and I hung up the call when I had a chance, focusing on being with him in a cozy way. 13. After the storm, I and Fang Ming got our marriage license. He held a grand wedding, and I became the most beautiful and happiest bride. The major media live-streamed the wedding. Lin Jiao also wanted to come, but she was driven away. She was furious, but she couldn't get close to me. She could only watch me be happy. The Lin family has completely gone bankrupt. I heard she now lives in a small, rundown apartment, working as a 996 salary slave. Life has worn away her glossy appearance, and put her in heavy chains. Later, there would be a time when she would suffer. Later, I finally got the report about the truth of the Lin family. It turned out that Lin Qihai was just a Phoenix boy as well. He had once been crazy about Zhou Wan, and half of it was because he was after Zhou Wan's company. Once drunk, he forced himself on her, and that's how I came to be. At that time, Zhou Wan already had a boyfriend she deeply loved, and was about to get engaged. I will never forget her face that day, but my birth did not ease their relationship. Instead, Zhou Wan also came to hate me. Later, she disappeared for more than a year. At that time I was too young to remember, but after she came back, her relationship with Lin Qihai improved, and later, Lin Jiao was born. Lin Jiao was the child of her and the man she loved, and also the lubricant between Lin Qihai and her. Lin Jiao's biological father died early, and Zhou Wan forced Lin Qihai to be good to Lin Jiao, commanding him to give all his paternal love to Lin Jiao, and Lin Qihai did as he was told. Thus, the Zhou family became the Lin family. So Lin Qihai was never about love, but about money. Upon reading this, I was trembling with hatred all over. Fang Ming tightly embraced me. Lon Lon, don't get excited. You still have me. You still have me. I used to hate them. I smiled, but now, they are nothing. Lin Qihai is selfish and greedy, and Zhou Wan is cruel and disgusting. They really are a perfect match. I promise, the Lin family will live in regret from now on. A low, gentle voice comforted me, and a drop of water fell on my forehead. Lon Lon, I will be with you. I held Feng Ming tightly. My birth was a mistake. But I won't accept my fate. I will never punish myself with their mistakes. Feng Ming, let's have a child. I looked into his eyes seriously. A child of our own, okay. He kissed down, passionately and devoutly. I closed my eyes, accepting his gentle and deep love, and smiled slightly. The Lin family owes me, and I have settled the account with them. From now on, I want to live more brilliantly and happily, will be with the person who loves me, accompany each other until old age. Story 2. On the day of the wedding, Xia Yanli's white moonlight came back. She came to our wedding with her family of 3 and, during a break, revealed the secret that I had been asked to keep all those years ago. She said that she came this time because she didn't want to leave any regrets in her youth. At that time, it was just before the college entrance examination. She was going abroad to treat her leg and asked me not to tell Xia Yanli, for fear of affecting his college entrance examination. After Xia Yanli learned the truth, he thought that I had deliberately tried to break them up. Before walking into the auditorium, he grabbed my neck and cursed, "So all your scheming was for today, I won't let you have your way." During the scuffle, I was pushed down the stairs. The broken glass fragments pierced into the main artery of my neck, and I bled to death. When I woke up again, I was back on the day when the white moonlight asked me to keep her secret. 1. In a drowsy state, I was shaken awake by Ji Songning. "Zi, Mom said she's bought the plane tickets, she's taking me abroad for treatment tomorrow." I looked up at the wall clock. It was 1:30 in the morning. Then I looked down at the narrow bed in front of me. Ever since Ji Songning came to live with us, I had given her my room. My bed was made by laying a cooling chair flat. Mom said it would only be for a few days, but I had been making do on this cooling chair from the second year of high school until the end of the third year. I suddenly came to my senses. How wonderful fate is. The intense pain in my neck and the feeling of suffocation and panic due to excessive blood loss seemed to still linger in my perception, and my breathing suddenly became rapid. Ji Songning seemed dissatisfied that I didn't respond to her in time. She reached out and slapped my shoulder hard, saying, "Zhou Zi, I'm talking to you, did you hear me?" I came to my senses and met her eyes that looked so self-righteous. I raised my hand and slapped her hard. The crisp sound of the slap was particularly abrupt in the quiet room. Tomorrow is the first day of the college entrance examination, and she is so self-centered, only thinking about herself. In my previous life, I was so stupid that I endured it. I patiently listened to her negative emotions for over an hour and finally took the first exam with a dizzy head. It was she who asked me to keep the secret that she was going abroad. She said that it didn't matter if I didn't tell Xia Yanli for a while, and I shouldn't delay his college entrance examination. Anyway, he would know about it eventually. Since she said that, a normal person would naturally keep quiet. We all thought that the matter was over, and later she stayed abroad all the time, experiencing love, getting married, and having children. Xia Yanli and I got together in the third year after she went abroad. It was Xia Yanli who pursued me. Even before the wedding, she sent me a text message to wish me well, but then she showed up at my wedding and reminisced about their youth with the man who was about to become my husband. She judged me. The person who had once kept her secret for a day, was the plane grounded? Or did all the communication facilities in the world fail for the two of them? The fact that they didn't end up together was all my fault. Did I make Xia Yanli pursue me? Did I make them stop contacting each other after she went abroad? Did I cut off all their means of communication? Did I make Ji Songning seamlessly move on to fall in love, get married, and have children? 2. After Ji Songning was slapped by me, she was stunned for only a moment before she suddenly flew into a rage. "Zhou Zi, you're fucking crazy, how dare you hit me?" I stood up, and before she could react, I slapped her again. "I hit you, so what? Do I need to pick a special day for it?" Her leg was seriously injured, and she could only half drag it, unable to exert any strength at all. Soon, I pinned her to the ground and beat her. I really had endured her for too long. Ji Songning is my uncle's daughter. Her parents divorced when she was very young. My mom said she was pitiful and asked me to be more tolerant of her. She lived in my home from the second grade of primary school until she graduated from primary school. Those 4 years were a complete nightmare for me. It was as if I was her personal maid, a 24-hour nanny. Even though we were only half a year apart in age, it was my fault when Ji Songning didn't hand in her homework. I was selfish and only cared about myself and not about her. When Ji Songning fought with her classmates and the parents were called, it was my fault because I didn't stop her. When Ji Songning stole money, it was my fault. I was jealous of her and told our parents. there were countless such examples, until she was picked up by her mother after graduating from primary school. I thought the nightmare was over, but then, in high school, she came back again, and the nightmare returned. Moreover, since my uncle had passed away by then, my mom became even more protective of Ji-songning. She regarded Ji-songning as a precious jewel. She thought Ji-songning was very pitiful, that she had no one to take care of her, and she wanted to compensate her and keep this last bit of bloodline for her younger brother, and she imposed this responsibility on me as well. Any matter related to Ji-songning was once again linked to me, and I had a greater responsibility for her than her legal guardians. It was like she, who was less than 158 centimeters tall, insisted on being a motorcycle girl. When she rode the motorcycle, her feet couldn't even touch the ground, and as expected, she broke her leg. The doctor said she might be lame for the rest of her life, but my mom thought it was my fault, that I didn't take good care of her. She whipped me with a clothes hanger that day and broke 3 of them. My arm still hurts when I raise it even now. Damn it, the more I think about it, the angrier I get. I continued to slap her. After a few slaps, her face swelled up. At this moment, my parents finally came in. Ji-songning's biological mother couldn't stand living in our shabby house and stayed in a nearby hotel. Maybe Ji-songning couldn't bear to part with her 24-hour personal nanny. She still came to cause trouble on the last night. My mom pulled me up and pushed me hard. I didn't stand firm and hit my head directly on the nearby cabinet. I reached out and touched my head, and my hand was covered in blood. She seemed not to have expected it to be so serious and was stunned for a moment, saying, "Josie, what are you going crazy for in the middle of the night?" She really hasn't changed at all from what I remembered. No matter what the situation, she would never stand by my side. All kinds of grievances from my previous life and this life came flooding back. I went crazy on the spot. I wiped the blood on my forehead with both hands, smearing it all over my face. I frantically pulled my hair and shouted, "Yes, I'm crazy. I'm a madman. You guys drove me crazy. Did I ask you to give birth to me? I'm going to take the college entrance examination tomorrow." And she woke me up in the middle of the night just to tell me her stupid love story. I'm not even allowed to refuse, right? What? Is your younger brother's daughter somehow superior? Am I just meant to be her slave and nanny? It's not that I'm inferior, it's because I was born to someone like you that I'm treated as inferior. I ranted on and on, leaving my mom stunned. She held her precious niece with both hands. She dared not look me in the eye and said, "Mom didn't mean that. It's just that Ningning is still a patient now. Why are you arguing with her?" "Oh, come on, how dare I? How dare this second-class citizen in the family argue with Mom's noble and beloved niece? Maybe I'm not your biological child, but even if I'm not, you should have some conscience. I'm taking the college entrance examination tomorrow. Can you please show some kindness? I'm begging your family." "What do you mean by your family? Aren't you part of our family? You really know how to talk," my mom said and was about to hit me, but I suddenly stepped back, cowed out and bowed at lightning speed, and kept repeating in my mouth, "Please show some kindness, I'm begging you." This was what my mom often did to me in the past. Once I started complaining that she treated Ji-songning better than me, she would either beat her chest and cry, saying that I was an ungrateful wretch, or kneel down to me and say, "It's all my fault. I gave birth to you with a delicate body but a servant's fate. I can't give you a good life. You can go to someone else's home." Where could a child under 10 years old go? I could only stand there and let her finish her performance and bear all her negative emotions. My dad finally spoke up at this moment. He dragged me up and said, "Josie, it's the middle of the night. How long are you going to keep making a scene?" I looked up at him and suddenly laughed. "Dad, it's great. I thought you could actually talk. Otherwise, I would have thought my dad knew how to be invisible in this family." He was so mocked by me that he didn't know what to say for a moment. He wanted to get angry but looked at the clock that was almost 2 o'clock. In the end, he just took my mom and the others out and left a sentence, "You have the college entrance examination tomorrow. Go to bed early." I had a cold expression and didn't say anything. After they left, I locked the door with a bang. 3. There was no way I could sleep now. Even if I slept until dawn, I wouldn't be able to take the exam tomorrow. Before I was reborn, it had been 7 years since the end of the college entrance examination. I'm really annoyed. Who wants to go back to this time? Couldn't I have come back after the exam? I really can't stand it. But if I don't do well in the exam, those two won't have it easy either. In my previous life, they said I had delayed the two of them. Right, in this life, I'll be a good person to the end and fulfill their wishes. As for whether Xia Yanli will see it or not, that's up to fate. To be honest, my neck still hurts now. If I wasn't afraid of attracting too much attention, I would call him right away. I would tell him to hurry up. That his white moonlight was going abroad, or else I would immediately transform into a Trisolaran and use physical and mental magic to obstruct their peerless love. But in the middle of the night, I just posted an insignificant update on QQ Space. My broken phone was almost falling apart. It was the phone that Ji-Soning had broken, and my mom gave it to me out of desperation. I used my living expenses to save up for a long time to fix it. Woken up in the middle of the night by a crazy woman to listen to her peerless love story. The crazy woman thinks that since she's going abroad tomorrow, the plane might be grounded after she goes abroad, and then she won't be able to see the crazy man. After posting it, I turned off my phone and went to sleep. Maybe I had never stood up for myself like this in my previous life. After venting, I slept soundly until dawn. I felt much more relaxed when I turned on my phone. Xia Yanli's calls hadn't stopped since last night. Damn it, great. I hope he performs even worse than me today. The former Zhou Ziyi is already dead. The one who's back now is Zhou Hulu Dark Twisted Ziyi. Looking at his angry expression, my good mood increased by 100. Zhou Ziyi, what on earth is going on? What's wrong with Songning? Zhou Ziyi, you should have some basic manners, right? What do you mean by that status update you posted? Are you so malicious that you deliberately want to mess up someone's college entrance examination? There were one message after another, and it made me want to puke just looking at them. Why didn't I realize before that he seemed not to even know the words? Or is it that I'm just the bug in their peerless love story and they have to drag me into it, and they even ask me what I mean? Isn't it obvious? Am I your father? Do I have to answer all your questions? What responded to me was a phone call that came through quickly. Zhou Ziyi, my name could actually be pronounced with such gritted teeth. What do you want from your father? Making so many calls in the middle of the night. Didn't your father teach you any manners? So you came to your father here. Zhou Ziyi, my patience has its limits. Slap, I hung up the phone directly. You think you're so important. What patience has its limits? Has Xia Yanli always been this crazy? Apart from the fact that he killed me in my previous life, I feel like being with him is like having a criminal record. The phone rang again persistently. After thinking about it, I answered it. Zhou Ziyi, where is Songning? Who are you talking to? Do I owe you something? Why should I care about where she is? And why should I tell you? Zhou Ziyi, even though I don't know how we offended you, please tell me. Okay, this is really important to me. Begging me, is this how you beg someone? How about you call me Dad? I can't be bothered by you every day like your father and not even hear you call me Dad, right? Zhou Ziyi, fuck you. Are you crazy? What, you don't want to? Then it seems that your relationship isn't that deep. You don't even want to call me Dad. Then you're destined to part ways in the future. Alas, are you suffering from histrionic personality disorder? You don't love her that much. Why pretend to be a deep lover? The phone was hung up again in a fit of anger. Arguing early in the morning really makes me feel refreshed. After washing up, I prepared to go downstairs to eat some noodles and then go to the examination room. Thanks to Ji-Soning's disturbance last night, my dear parents might have felt a little guilty, and they actually left me some money for breakfast. I still remember that in my previous life, I got up dizzy and cooked an egg for myself as breakfast, because early in the morning, my parents went to see Ji-Soning off. The morning exam was Chinese, although I had forgotten most of the high school knowledge. Since it was my mother tongue, I could still manage it to some extent. I quickly finished the questions and was the first to rush out of the examination room. There was no other reason, because starting from a few years ago, almost every year during the college entrance examination, the first examinee to come out would be interviewed. At the corner of the stairs, I deliberately tore open the wound on my forehead to make the blood flow more. Then I covered my forehead with one hand and ran towards the exit. I was smiling throughout the whole interview. I said that I thought life was full of hope. After going to college, I wouldn't be beaten because of my cousin anymore. This interview quickly went viral on the internet. If I had just simply played the victim, maybe not so many people would have paid attention, but I created a contrast of hope. The daughter who was disturbed the night before the college entrance examination, the mother who hurt her own child for someone else's child. Going to college means not being beaten anymore. My mother soon became famous because of me. When she got back to the residential community, many people were pointing at her and talking about her. When I went back for lunch at noon, I happened to run into her in a fit of rage. Zhou Ziyi, what do you mean by the words you said to the reporter? What do I mean? What's the matter? Mom, your dear baby has gone abroad. Are you still going to hit me? Josie, have you gone crazy these 2 days? She raised her hand, wanting to hit me but hesitating to bring it down, because my father was beside her and persuaded, forget it. The child is taking the college entrance examination, don't argue with her, goodness. So my parents know that I'm taking the college entrance examination. I thought the college entrance examination was just a trivial matter. Besides, what could be more important than your precious Ning Ning? Josie, my mother's slap finally came down. Hey, she missed. I'm not stupid anymore. Why should I stand there and let her hit me? I smiled provocatively at her and said, it seems that Mom doesn't love precious Ning Ning that much either. You didn't even go abroad with her to take care of her. Mom's love has declined. You should work harder, otherwise, precious Ning Ning will be so pitiful since her parents are divorced. Josie, when are you going to stop making a scene? Sigh, we little cabbages who are neither loved by our father nor our mother aren't even allowed to tell the truth. Unlike precious Ning Ning, even though her parents are divorced, she still has cheap second-hand parents who are eager to love her. Why can't I just endure it? When little precious Ning Ning is born, you surely won't want to keep me. You can just get rid of me. That would be good for both me and you. I turned around, sat on the chair, propped my head up, and looked at them as I spoke. Josie, haven't you had enough of making a scene? Where is your upbringing? My father was so angry that he slapped the table, and my mother was trying to calm herself down beside him. What's wrong, now that precious Ning Ning is gone? You find me even more annoying, then I'll just leave. I got up, opened the door, and was about to go out. My mother chased after me. She grabbed my arm and shouted hoarsely, Josie, am I supposed to feel sorry for giving birth to you? Is this how you treat me? I struggled to get away. Her grip became tighter and tighter, and my arm was pinched so hard that it hurt. My head, maybe because of the previous injury, was getting dizzier and dizzier, in a trance. I lost my balance and was directly pushed down by her. I rolled down the stairs all the way. The scenes of my previous life and this life flashed through my mind in an instant. I instinctively reached out to touch my neck. Oh, I'd been reborn. This isn't the wedding scene. There is no glass on the old-fashioned stairs either. Then there was a violent impact. This time, it was my knee that hit the steps. A sharp pain spread from my bones and skin. And then came the numbness of the pain. My white pants were covered in blood, and I curled up like a shrimp. The intense physical pain made me cry out involuntarily. My father rushed down in a panic. How are you? How are you feeling? I looked at them coldly and suddenly laughed, saying, I'm not dead yet. Mom and Dad, you need to work harder. Our commotion attracted the neighbors in the corridor. I was sent to the hospital by kind neighbors. There was a lot of noise at the scene, with the voices of kind-hearted people accusing my parents, my father's explanations, and the loud sound of the door slamming shut after my mother got angry when she was criticized. I didn't feel anything at all, as if my mind was completely blank. The blood on my leg was flowing more and more, and my head was spinning badly. It wasn't until I reached the hospital and the doctor was treating my wound that the pain from touching the wound for the second time woke me up. It wasn't all bad. At least since I missed this exam, I could also skip the following ones. I didn't have to find an excuse for myself as to why I did so poorly in this college entrance examination. 5. There was something even better. I wasn't the only one who missed the exam. Xia Yanli didn't even take the Chinese exam. He bought a large bouquet of sunflowers mixed with baby's breath to see Ji Songning off. Then he pretentiously posted a status update. You ask me if it's worth it. But you've already been everything to me. The accompanying pictures were photos of the flowers, Ji Songning's back at the airport, and the flower language of baby's breath found online, which was silent and protective love. Woohoo, so touching. I was so touched that I ate one more drumstick at the hospital at noon. Sigh. I'm just afraid that you two aren't in love enough. 6. Because of the injury and hospitalization, I didn't take the remaining exams of the college entrance examination. The reporter who had interviewed me before learned about this and conducted a second interview with me. I shed tears in front of the camera and said, I don't know why it turned out like this. I really prepared for a long time. This interview was quite long, and with the evidence from the surrounding neighbors, my parents became completely famous throughout the urban area. My mother called me in a fit of anger and asked me what exactly I wanted. Now, wherever she and my father went, people would point at them and talk. My usually timid father even rarely lost his temper with her. I smiled and said, it should be me asking Mom what she wants. Does she really want my life? As I said this, I couldn't help but think of the scenes from my previous life. she really wanted my life. At that time, she was worried that Ji-sunning didn't have enough money abroad, so most of the family's money was used to support her. But our family didn't seem that poor in the eyes of others. And I couldn't even apply for a student grant. At the beginning of my first year in college, they still paid my tuition fees, but later they asked me to support myself through part-time jobs. At that time, she cried and said to me, "Z, children from poor families take on responsibilities early. This is the only condition we have, you have to understand us." Throughout the 4 years of college, I hardly had a day of rest. I was always running back and forth between the school and the places where I had part-time jobs. I wore my high school coat until I graduated from college. My roommates couldn't stand it and gave me the clothes they didn't wear. I was in a sorry state every day, while my peers were full of youth and sunshine. I was like a stinky rat in the gutter, afraid that others would see my embarrassment. At the same time, what was Ji-sunning doing? At the age of 19, with the money sponsored by my parents, she traveled from New York to Philadelphia. When I saw that WeChat Moments post, I was so angry that I went to argue with my mother, but she scolded me in an incredulous tone, saying, "Ningning's leg is already like that. Do you know that she was so depressed that she cut her arm with a knife in the middle of the night and was sent to the emergency room? Do you really have to compare with her? Is death something to be afraid of? I've long since lost the will to live. If I wanted to die, I wouldn't cut a wound that would heal even if I was sent to the hospital late. You probably wouldn't even know if I had been dead for a long time. Josie, I'm your mother. How can you scare me like this? What else do you want me to do?" She was crying bitterly on the other end of the phone. Her tears were like a swamp that swallowed me up, pulling me down little by little to rot with her. Children naturally love their parents. At that time, I was always tamed by her way of giving me a sweet date after slapping me. Just like after I made a scene that day, she surprisingly sent me a red envelope of 200 yuan. But along with the red envelope was a long voice message. "My knees have been hurting recently, and I also feel a bit uncomfortable in my lungs. I'm too afraid to go see a doctor." She used all the means of manipulating people in her life on me. She gave all her kindness and consideration to her original family. Naturally, I didn't accept that red envelope, even during my student days. I would use the scholarships I received and the money I earned from part-time jobs to subsidize them. When did I start to wake up? Ji-sunning was like a bottomless pit. She seemed to have to feel her own value through the sacrifice of others for her, and she got used to it. She learned to smoke marijuana and drink heavily in the United States. The year I graduated, she got uremia and needed a kidney transplant. My mother didn't hesitate to ask me to get a kidney match. She said it casually, "You can still live with one kidney, you two are blood relatives. Mom is begging you." In that instant, I woke up completely. She didn't love herself, let alone me. I will never give my life to her to use like an item. That was the first time I started to refuse her. She said all kinds of mean and abusive words to me. She cursed me, wondering why it wasn't someone like me who was sick. I woke up completely under her repeated attacks. It wasn't me who asked her to give birth to me. She didn't have any kindness towards me. I don't owe anyone anything. If no one treats me well, I'll treat myself well. I want to live for myself. I must live for myself. 7. Perhaps because of being reborn, compared to my previous life, my father has started to change a bit, but I don't need it. He brought my mother to the hospital several times, but I chased them away every time. As soon as he came, I would make a huge scene like a madman. "Haven't you hurt me enough? Now my college entrance examination is ruined. Are you satisfied?" They didn't like it when I mentioned this, so I deliberately brought it up. "Josie, I'm your mother. Are you going to blame me?" There it was again, always this sentence. In my previous life, when I didn't donate my kidney, they sold the house just to have more money for Ji-sunning. Then they came to me penniless and said, "Josie, it doesn't matter, you live your good life. We don't have that kind of luck." I couldn't stand it anymore and laughed out of anger, saying, "How dare I blame Mom? My mom is the best mom in the world. She let me experience a unique slave's life. My mom is the kindest mom in the world. Mom, I'm afraid my life isn't enough for you to mess with. While you're still young, you should have more children quickly, otherwise, precious Ningning will be so pitiful without a nanny and a slave in the future." Josie, she raised her hand to hit me. I covered my mouth and continued to laugh at her, saying, "What's wrong, Mom? Did I hit the mark?" "Oh. So you deliberately ruined my college entrance examination because you were afraid that I would spend money on studying or that I would be difficult to control in the future and wouldn't be your slave anymore, right? Goodness, Mom really put a lot of thought into it. I'm really touched by Mom's love for Precious Ningning every moment. God, open your eyes. Why didn't you let Mom and Precious Ningning be real mother and daughter? The slap didn't come down. My father stopped her firmly. Amazing. It's amazing. My father can stop her now. The world has changed. I laughed so hard that my stomach hurt. After finally catching my breath, I continued, Mom, hit me. I know I mentioned Precious Ningning again and touched Mom's sore spot. Josie, what have I done to you? Did I give birth to you and still owe you something? How could Mom owe me anything? It's me who owes Mom. It's my fault. I shouldn't have failed to strangle myself in Mom's womb. I was so naive that I dared to be born from Mom's womb and made Mom's Precious Ningning feel wronged. But Mom, I've already sacrificed my college entrance examination for the noble Precious Ningning, and I've been her slave and nanny for so many years. Isn't that enough? Precious Ningning is so noble. How can a slave like me serve her well? Let me give Mom an idea. Having children is a business. You should make it big and strong and have more children. Then you'll have more income from collecting debts in the future, and Precious Ningning will be even happier. Zee, that's enough. This result today isn't what your mother and I wanted either. What can you gain by constantly attacking your mother like this? Dad, you spoke too late. You should have scolded me earlier. If you're a son-in-law who lives with your wife's family, you should have the awareness that your child is a slave of the G family. And the money you earn and even yourself belong to the G family. Now, wake up quickly and help the G family have more slaves and nannies as soon as possible. Remember to control it and don't have sons. Sons are not as easy to control as daughters. Anyway, you really should have a sense of crisis. What will you do if they kick you out of the house in the future? I'm really worried. Forget it. We won't talk to you anymore. You're completely out of control now. Hee. They left just like that. Sigh. It seems that Mom and Dad aren't that scary after all. So what on earth was I afraid of in my previous life, and why did I hesitate to take that first step? 8. It takes 100 days to recover from an injury to the muscles and bones. After staying in the hospital for a week, I limped out of the hospital. I went back to our rural hometown. There was 12,000 yuan hidden in the adobe bricks there. It was left to me by my grandmother before she died. She was very far-sighted and worried that I would have a hard time after she was gone. The little old lady really loved me. She would take a long bus ride to come and see me at home. She even gave Ji Sanning pocket money to please her. Fearing that Ji Sanning would bully me, I pried open the adobe bricks under the bed and took out the money wrapped in layer after layer of handkerchiefs. Tears welled up in my eyes. Sigh, why couldn't I have been reborn earlier? She didn't even get to enjoy the good things I could have given her. In my previous life, I also survived with this money. I used it to buy goods and set up a street stall in college, but it was only enough for food and clothing. I was afraid that if I opened an online store, I would lose all the capital and wouldn't be able to survive. It's not so troublesome in this life. After all, being reborn gives me some information advantage. I have some research on stocks, and I have an impression of most of the stocks that have skyrocketed in recent years. I took my ID card, went to the bank to open a bank card, and bought a relatively good second-hand phone online. Before the start of my repeat year of high school, that sum of money had grown to over 270,000 yuan. Suddenly, I felt more confident. It's so nice. Money gives courage to the timid. At this time, in order to make me yield, my mother hadn't given me a single penny for 2 full months. I was happy to be at ease and directly went back to my grandmother's old house to live. When my father came back from a business trip, he asked me how I had been living during this period. What? Are you curious about why I'm still not dead, dear father? Z, can you not be so sharp? Dad didn't know. Ouch. Dad never knows. If I really starved to death and the grass on my grave was 3 meters high, Dad might even cry at the wrong grave. Forget it. I don't want to argue about this with you. What are you going to do next? Repeating high school also needs money. Stop arguing with your mother. As he said this, he was about to give me money. I quickly jumped far away. Hey, no way. I won't take it. I'm not taking it. You two are more ruthless than loan sharks. You'll ask me to pay with my life later. I don't dare to take it. Besides, this is Xiaobaoning's money. I don't even dare to look at it. Josie, how long are you going to keep making a scene? Without money, how on earth have you been living these days? Do you only think to ask me how I've been living now? Don't you know? Now the whole city knows that I'm worse off than an orphan. Orphans get a 1,200 yuan state subsidy every month. Everyone pities me. I just take a bowl out every day, and someone will have mercy and give me food. The more I talked, the uglier his face became. In the end, there was actually a glimmer of guilt in his eyes. Unfortunately, I don't need it, haha. I changed the tone of my voice and continued to speak sarcastically. Hey, you know, Dad, you've turned misfortune into a blessing. Hurry up and have a few more children with Mom for the G family. Now society knows that you two are having slaves for the G family. In the future, when these slaves go out and sell their hardships to gain sympathy, you won't even need to give them leftover food. This is a highly profitable business. Xiao Baoning is going to be extremely happy again. My father really couldn't listen anymore and fled in a hurry, leaving behind 2,000 yuan. Hee, who cares? The next day, I went to the post office and mailed it to his workplace. There was a sticky note on it with a heart-warming reminder. The best dad in the world. I don't know why Dad suddenly changed. I'm even worried that my dear dad might be possessed. He actually wants to be a father. But Dad, you have to understand your status. Do you have the right to use this money? Do you need to care about your children? You're not an ordinary man. You're a son-in-law with backbone. You gave birth to slaves, not children you want to love. If you dare to reward a full 2,000 yuan to slaves today, will you dare not serve the G family tomorrow? When Xiao Baoning resents you, then will you blame me again? What I said about someone giving me food was true. After returning to the village, everyone probably knew about my situation. Many people invited me to their homes for meals. I was really touched. It was as if a rotting corpse suddenly saw the sun, feeling warm. It was as if I had returned to the time before I went crazy. However, I didn't really need to eat other people's food. Before my grandmother died, she had stored 3,000 gene of millet in the barn for me. She was really afraid that I would starve. Before she passed away, she tightly held my father's hand and told him not to sell these millet. My father promised, and only after looking at me did she close her eyes. Not long after, my mother said that the millet would go bad if stored for too long and wouldn't be worth much, so they sold more than 1,000 gene with my father. It wasn't until my father had nightmares in a row and dreamed that my grandmother was questioning him that he dared not sell any more. After that, they never came back to the old house again. Only I came back to clean it every winter and summer vacation. I didn't want to see this old house in decline. I always felt that if it was cleaned spotlessly, it would be as if my grandmother was still there. The millet in the barn had been there for more than 3 years, and my grandmother had been gone for more than 3 years. I carried a bamboo basket to the threshing ground in the village to turn the millet into rice and went home to steam the rice. The leeks my grandmother planted on the back hill were still growing lushly, together with the eggs given by an aunt in the village. I made a leek and egg stir-fry. I also placed a portion of the meal in front of my grandmother's photo, as if she was still having a meal with me. Grandma, why couldn't I come back earlier? There were 7 peach trees planted by my grandmother in the yard. In the past, they didn't bear many fruits, but this year they bore an unusually large number. One tree bore 200 to 300 gene of peaches. My daily routine was to go to the market to sell peaches in the morning, have a meal and read books in the old house in the afternoon, and look at the stalks at night. When my father learned about the peaches, he came to see me once and praised me. Dad knows that you've grown up and know how to earn money by yourself, so you don't want Dad's money. Alas, your mother also cares about you very much. Are you being self-touched again? My dear Dad, do you know why the peach trees suddenly bore so many fruits this year? Grandma said that you've been so kind to me that she made the peach trees bear more fruits to reward you. I looked at him with a smile. The sky in the afternoon was frighteningly yellow, the tree shadows were dancing, and unknown birds were screaming in the distance. He looked at the old house in panic, left with a Dad still has something to do and left, afraid of ghosts. I'm not afraid. I really want to see one, otherwise, it's too lonely to be alone in the world. 9. Soon, the new semester started. My situation was rather special. Although I didn't take the college entrance examination, my previous mock test and final exam scores were okay. The school teachers took the initiative to find me. On the one hand, they said they could waive my tuition fees, and on the other hand, they could also sponsor my living expenses. I refused and asked the teachers to give them to those who needed them. They asked me how I would make a living, so I made up a story that I had bought a scratch-off lottery ticket and won 100,000 yuan, because if I said it was from stocks, there would definitely be a lot more explanations. The teacher was very touched by my actions and told me to keep my lottery winning a secret. Because she probably also knew about what had happened during the college entrance examination. In the end, the tuition fee was waived, and the living expense sponsorship was given to another classmate from a poor family. As soon as the school started, I saw Xia Yanli in the new class. As the saying goes, when enemies meet, their eyes blaze with hatred. He walked straight towards me, knocked on my desk, and said, "Come out, I have something to tell you." "Why, just because you ask me to go out, I will." I rolled my eyes at him. "Fine. If you want to talk here and don't care about losing face, that's okay. You're a girl yourself. Aren't you conscience-stricken for ruining another girl's reputation?" Why should someone be conscience-stricken? Just for telling the truth. The person who takes over someone else's place without permission isn't conscience-stricken. The person who disturbs a student who is about to take the college entrance examination in the middle of the night isn't conscience-stricken. The person who takes all the advantages and has no shame isn't conscience-stricken. Why should we normal people be conscience-stricken? What bad luck, being in the same class as someone like you. The one who spoke was my deskmate, Chin Shi, a cute little girl. She might not be good at arguing with people. After saying these words, her face turned bright red. Xia Yanli's previous image was that of a good-looking and polite top student. No one had ever taunted him like this before. He was momentarily at a loss for words and kicked over the desk next to him. He turned around and strode away. When he reached the door, the owner of the desk came back from the toilet and cursed, "Damn it, who is so unqualified that they knocked over someone's desk and didn't even pick it up." Xia Yanli paused. It was neither appropriate for him to come back and pick it up nor to just leave, so he quickly left. Chin Shi and I went to help pick up the books. Chin Shi couldn't help but say, "Look at who runs fast, it's him." During the year of repeating high school, my life was actually quite ordinary. I wasn't very showy. Maybe it was because of my cautious nature. I was afraid that if I showed off my wealth too much, I would be targeted by bad people, and being alone, I didn't have much ability to protect myself, so the classmates even thought I was very poor for a while. During class breaks, everyone would give me snacks. Those who are willing to repeat high school are generally children from ordinary families. Comparatively speaking, the college entrance examination is a very important, even the only way out. Before the end of the first semester, the income from my stocks alone had reached over 1 million yuan. At this time, there was also a crucial time point. That was the start of the FIFA World Cup. In my previous life, I heard many boys in the class discussing it privately. And my father also bought some sports lottery tickets. I only remember 2 or 3 special scores, but I remember the specific wins and losses very clearly. This year's champion and runner-up were Germany and Argentina, and the 3rd and 4th place were the Netherlands and Brazil. There was another reason why I remembered this so clearly. Life got too busy later, and I never paid attention to other World Cups. For those I had a deep impression of, I bought a large number of lottery tickets. Soon, that over 1 million yuan amount rolled to over 10 million yuan, and because I was afraid of being noticed, sometimes I would take a taxi to other districts to buy lottery tickets. I didn't let anyone know about this money. To be honest, when this money was deposited into my card, my hands were shaking. In both my previous life and this life combined, I had never seen so much money. With money, many things became much more convenient. For high school knowledge, I specially hired famous teachers for tutoring, and for some classes, I took them with my classmates in the class. I told everyone that it was sponsored by kind-hearted people. Of course, for the sake of his self-esteem, Xia Yanli wouldn't take classes with us, and he looked very busy every day. I heard from my classmates that he was working part-time every day now. He wanted to save money to go and see Jisongning during the winter vacation. No matter how smart a person is, if he doesn't cherish his talent, God will take it back. He dropped from being in the top 10 of the grade to being outside the top 100. Soon, the winter vacation arrived. Excluding the tutoring time, we only had about 10 days of rest. Of course, Xia Yanli didn't get to see Jisongning. His family was already very opposed to the fact that Xia Yanli gave up the college entrance examination last time. Naturally, they wouldn't give him extra money to let him go for love. And most of the money he earned from his part-time jobs was either sent to Jisongning because he was worried that she wasn't doing well or used to buy her gifts as surprises. He was already in debt, so naturally he didn't save up enough money for the plane ticket. 10. During the winter vacation break, our previous classmates came back. Everyone also held a class reunion. While singing in the KTV, A classmate I had little interaction with in the past suddenly stuffed a card into my hand. I was stunned on the spot. The one who stuffed the card into me was Qing Yanchuan, the top student in the grade. In my impression, I had hardly talked to him a few times, and he seemed to be good friends with Xia Yanli. They were together. I smiled politely and said, "Thank you for your kindness, but I'm not that strapped for cash. I didn't want to have such involvement in my previous life." At first, I was actually quite concerned about the fact that Xia Yanli and Ji Sanning were about to get together. At first, I never thought that I would be with him, but I had a crush on him. When I was in high school, my living expenses were very little. My mother had precisely calculated how much money I should spend. The money I had at school was only enough to buy vegetarian dishes. Sometimes, when I didn't bring sanitary pads from home in time during my period, after swiping my meal card, I couldn't even afford vegetarian dishes. At that time, I was really hungry and really craving meat. I would even secretly go to a restaurant to wash dishes in order to get a meal with meat, and I could also earn 10 yuan per hour. I didn't dare to touch the money my grandmother left at all. It's easy to go from frugality to extravagance, but difficult to go from extravagance to frugality. I was afraid that once I started using it, I would unknowingly use it all up. I had to go to college. What if they didn't pay my tuition fees? So I endured it all the time until one day, I suddenly found that every month, several hundred yuan would suddenly be added to my meal card. At first, I thought it was a poverty subsidy from the school to protect our self-esteem, and I thought I had to study even harder. That sum of money really made my life much better, until one day, I returned to the classroom early and saw Xia Yanli stealing my meal card from my desk. I was so angry at that time. I thought I was so poor, and did he have no conscience? I originally wanted to secretly follow him to catch him in the act, but I saw him recharge 500 yuan into that meal card. It's hard to describe my feelings at that time. I was completely stunned there. In my past life, apart from my grandmother, I never thought that anyone would treat me like this. Those feelings just grew unconsciously. Later, when I found out about his relationship with Ji Sanning, I was actually a bit sad, but because of this, my tolerance for him was getting higher and higher. I acted as a messenger in their relationship. He asked me to take good care of Ji Sanning, and I did. When Ji Sanning was sick, I cooked porridge for her, helped her wash clothes, and explained homework to her. Even my mother praised me for doing a good job. That was when I was at my lowest self-esteem. For a while, I even hoped that he hadn't transferred that money, so that I wouldn't have to bear such moral pressure. I always felt that I should repay him. Later, when he and Ji Sanning separated, he was extremely depressed. He was drunk every day and unconscious. It was also me who, after my part-time job, sent him home late at night and tried every means to encourage and help him. After being reborn, I wanted to end this karma. I gave him 10,000 yuan. He was a bit stunned at first. I directly mentioned the meal card incident. He remained silent and didn't say anything, but he also didn't take the money. Later, when he and Ji Sanning got together, his finances became more and more strained. I seized the right moment and offered that sum of money. He clenched his fists and finally said, "I'll consider this a loan. I'll pay you back later." There won't be a later. This person won't have any relationship with me in the future. 11. She knew about the meal card incident, but she always thought the money might not be Xia Yanli's. I thought, if it wasn't his, he wouldn't have kept silent about it. When Qing Yanchuan handed me the card, she was right beside me. She deliberately said loudly, "Hey, Re doesn't need it." Hey, last time, Xia Yanli secretly transferred money into her card and she found out. She even returned it many times over. What? That money wasn't his. It was Yanchuan who asked him to put it in the meal card. A boy beside Qing Yanchuan immediately spoke up. Just as he finished speaking, Xia Yanli was coming back from the toilet. He heard that sentence and stammered, "I never said that money was from me. The money you gave me, I said it was a loan." "Then why didn't you say it wasn't yours?" She retorted. Xia Yanli stood there with a flushed face, at a loss, seeing the strange looks from everyone in the private room. He raised his foot to leave, but then turned back and said to me, "Zhou Zi, I'll give it to you tomorrow." I didn't look at him. I lowered my head to peel an orange and shared it with Chen Shi. "Half for each of us." Xia Yanli couldn't stay any longer and fled in a hurry. Suddenly, a slender hand handed me a tissue. I looked up at the owner of the hand. Under the light, his eyes were like stars in the sky. I held the orange and didn't know what to say for a moment. He reached out and took half of the orange, saying, "Thank you." Chen Shi winked at me and said, Humph, you're such a guy who values looks over friends. No, it's not like that. The more I explained, the more confused it got. As if there was a guilty conscience, Qing Yanchuan's eyebrows and eyes suddenly softened, and he couldn't hold back his smile. This was the first time I saw him smile so happily. After the class reunion, he sent me back to the hotel. Yes, I no longer lived at home. During previous holidays, I always lived in my grandmother's old house in the countryside. This time, I came specifically for the class reunion. We chatted casually all the way. He said he was sorry that he couldn't help me during the college entrance examination and didn't know how to. The only thing he thought he could do to help me was with money. Actually, he had been giving Xia Yanli more than 1,000 yuan every month before to give to me. It was just that because Xia Yanli told him that I didn't need it anymore and didn't say why, he came to ask me in person. Why, Qing Yanchuan? I remember your financial situation isn't that good either. You, Zhou Zi. You're so smart, don't you know why? The cool night breeze blew my skirt. I lowered my head and didn't dare to look into his eyes anymore. Suddenly, a denim jacket was placed on my shoulders. Zhou Zi, come on, I'll be waiting for you at Tsinghua University. Huh, no way, is this guy playing a cold joke? In my previous life, I tried my best, and the best I could get was a 985 university. I already thought I was super amazing with that. Now that I'm taking the exam again from the beginning, I'd be happy if I could get into a first-tier university, Tsinghua University. Why not say that Tsinghua and Peking University will fight over me? I frowned in embarrassment. He reached his hand towards my face. When it was almost close, he withdrew it. Under the street lamp, I saw his ears turn bright red. 12. I remember Qing Yanchuan's financial situation wasn't that good. I had seen him tutoring others to earn money before. It made me feel quite embarrassed because I had asked him questions several times. These were all his hard-earned results, but it wasn't very appropriate to give him money directly, so when the peaches in the old house were ripe, I picked a big bag for him. We were sitting one behind the other, so it was inevitable to ask questions, so every year I would give him a big bag of peaches. He seemed very cold, and I didn't dare to bother him too much. I just didn't expect. Alas, forget it, stop thinking. I still have to quickly focus on studying again to deal with the college entrance examination. After staying in the hotel for one night, when I went downstairs, Qing Yanchuan had actually ordered breakfast for me. He had already gone back to his school. It was said that he still had a lot of work to do, as expected of a top student. He's so busy as a freshman. The breakfast was all the food I liked: dry mixed red oil wontons, black soybean milk, and steamed buns with filling. I thought I should be calm-hearted. Love is precious, but life is more valuable, especially since I'm kind of a rich woman now. Alas, stop thinking. After breakfast, I went back to the old house. In the afternoon, I received a courier. I rode a bike to the town to pick it up. It was a sack of books and notes, all sorted out by category. As I looked at them, I couldn't help but sigh that Qing Yanchuan's notes were like they were printed. They could be sold as top student notes. 13. While I was reviewing, I also received a phone call. It was from Xia Yanli. He asked to meet me, saying he wanted to give me the money. I didn't want to ruin my mood, so I sent him a bank card number. There was no need for us to meet. It was unavoidable when we were at school. Maybe God understood what I meant. When school started, Xia Yanli really didn't come. It turned out that the money was for him to buy a plane ticket to see Ji Songning. Ji Songning didn't wait for him and suspected him of cheating, so she cut her wrist. It was said that her hand was in the bathtub. After being sent to the hospital, she was directly admitted to the ICU. Xia Yanli went on a hunger strike at home for 3 days. His parents had no choice but to finally send him to see Ji Songning. Interesting. More exciting than the 8 o'clock soap operas I watch. Ji Songning's suicide didn't have no impact on me at all, because my mother came to me again. She called me at night and said, "Ningning committed suicide, don't you know?" "Yeah, I know. What have you done?" "I bought firecrackers and fireworks." "Zhou Zi, are you still human?" "I don't know. It depends on whether you are human. After all, you gave birth to me." There was deep breathing on the other end of the phone. I quickly comforted her. "Mom, don't be angry. I bought the fireworks and firecrackers for your own good too, for me." "Listen." While answering the phone, I set off a bunch of fireworks by the riverbank next to the community. The bang sound reached the other end of the phone. Then I continued. "Xiao Baoning is already in the ICU. What are you doing now? Why don't you hurry up and take care of her? Do you deserve her?" even if you don't rush over, then hurry up and have a second child. I'm already hard to control. Why don't you hurry up and create the next one? You're not focused on your work either. How dare you rest at this time? Is Xiaobaoning's money enough to spend? Mom, I'm so disappointed in you. If it wasn't to cheer you on, do you think I would have bought the fireworks? The phone was hung up directly, so annoying. I still had so many sincere words to say. 14, more than a month after school started, Xia Yanli finally came to school. However, the story of him and Ji Sonning spread so widely that a boy talked to him at noon and his mother saw it. She immediately scolded him severely. Let me tell you, stay away from him. If you become like him, I'll take you and die together. The boy was afraid that his mother would say more extreme things, so he quickly pulled her to the cafeteria. Maybe Ji Sonning really needed money over there. Xia Yanli skipped classes more and more often, just to save money and send it to her. His parents gave him money a few times helplessly, but after all, they were an ordinary family. They couldn't afford to bear such a burden if they gave more. They could only let him be. Soon, it was time for the college entrance examination again. I didn't have any fear or anxiety. Anyway, the result of this exam wouldn't have a huge impact on my life, surprisingly. My mother actually bought me a dress and brought me food. Of course, I didn't dare to eat it. She just said that I was very sensible and capable and that she was very relieved. She didn't ignore me. She really had no choice. I said I understood and comforted her. It's okay, you'll get used to it. Use me as an experiment first. When mom has more slaves in the future, she'll be more numb. Mom is a super power mom. The children she gives birth to can grow on their own without being raised. When they grow up, they'll still be good slaves. Xiaobaoning's good fortune is yet to come. She was so irritated by me that she wanted to scold but couldn't, looking at the candidates coming and going. Finally, she just said, You'll understand mom when you grow up. After you finish the exam, mom has something to tell you. Oh, I'm curious again. What kind of outrageous and strange thing would make my mother endure so much humiliation today? The 3-day exam ended quickly. I might even have developed PTSD. During this period, I also hired a female bodyguard. I really don't want any more accidents and have to repeat high school again. As soon as I came out of the exam room, the tall and beautiful bodyguard handed me a bag. Inside was a long dress from Dior and a gold bracelet, because the day the college entrance examination ended was Qinxi's mother's birthday, because Qinxi's mother cooked very delicious food in the last semester. She always cooked 2 servings of food and brought them to Qinxi and me. I gave her money, but she wouldn't take it, so I took Qinxi to buy 2 stocks. Of course, to prevent her from getting addicted, I found all kinds of excuses, such as I dreamed about it and had the same dream for 2 consecutive years. I told all kinds of lies. After all, I couldn't say that I was reborn. Today is her mother's birthday. Naturally, I had to show my gratitude. As soon as my mother saw the bag I was carrying, she reached out to take it and said, You're finally grew up. Mom doesn't blame you for the past. This isn't for mom. I'm not Xiaobaoning. How could I buy something that mom would be satisfied with? This is a birthday gift for my classmate's mother. You bought it for your classmate's mother but not for me. Did you show anything on my birthday last year? Last year, at that time, I hadn't been reborn yet. Where did I get the money? Besides, it wasn't that I had never bought her anything before. When I was in primary school, I saved money to buy her a bunch of flowers. She slapped me so hard that my nose bled. She said I stole the money to buy them. Finally, when it was confirmed that it was my saved pocket money, she didn't give me any apology. When I was in junior high school, I worked part-time to buy her a birthday cake. She directly threw it on the ground and scolded me for what use it was to buy this. She scolded me for only knowing how to waste money, because at that time, Ji Sonning couldn't get into high school, and paying the school selection fee was a certainty. Even though she didn't live in our house at that time, she still paid close attention to her. I remember that after she left angrily at that time, I still took a spoon and dug the top part to eat. That was the first time I ate a birthday cake in my life. Grandma didn't understand these things, and I didn't want to ask her for it. She would buy me those small cakes sold by the Jean. At that time, I felt a bit regretful. I should have bought it for Grandma. Grandma seemed to have never eaten a birthday cake either, but Grandma didn't wait for my birthday cake. She left before my birthday. I looked at my ferocious mother in front of me and my emotions calmed down again. I said, Mom has Xiaobaoning. Why did I buy it for my classmate's mother? Mom, you may not know, people like me, who are not loved by their father or mother, lack love the most. I want to call anyone on the street mom or dad." Seeing that the atmosphere between us became tense again, her hand was raised again. I quickly hid behind the bodyguard and said, "Hey, look. Mom is going to take out her anger on me for xiaobounding again. That's why I lack a mom so much. My classmate's mother is so nice, she won't hit me, won't scold me, and even cooks for me every day. I never thought I could meet such a good mom in my life. Who is she?" "The bodyguard I hired." You, where did you get the money?" "From the parents I just recognized recently." "I just talked nonsense, Josie. Do you have to guard against me like this? I'm your biological mother." "Yes. I do. If I could prove that I'm not your biological child, I would send you to prison for intentional injury." You. She wanted to hit me but couldn't, and she couldn't stand my sarcasm when she wanted to scold me. She took several deep breaths and finally pleaded, "It was Mom's fault before. Mom will change from now on. Mom will pay for your college tuition and living expenses. But Mom begs you for one thing." "Okay. What is it?" "Ning has uremia and needs a kidney. Please have mercy on Mom and go with me to get a kidney match." "Okay. This is the only thing Mom has ever begged you for in her life." Fuck. Is Ji-Song-ning playing this so quickly? My god, how could this happen? If something happens to Xiaobounding, what will Mom do if she can't serve people in the future? Josie, are you still throwing a tantrum at this time? Are you still competing with her? I'm just asking you one thing. Will you help me or not? Of course, I knew it, not. Then from now on, consider that you don't have me as your mom. Okay, I've given birth to you in vain in this life. Yeah, just consider that I have bad luck. I'm so unlucky. Yeah, you're a beast, you won't die a good death. God will definitely punish you. I expressionlessly took out my phone to record a video and then smiled and said, Mom is really good at scolding. It seems Mom wants to be famous like last year. But this time, I'm going to post Xiaobounding's photo. I'll even post it in the Chinese community in the United States. Alas, I wonder if Xiaobounding will really die if she commits suicide again because of uremia. She reached out to grab my phone, but was stopped by my bodyguard. I looked at her fearlessly and said, Mom, not causing trouble for me is the greatest blessing for your Xiaobounding. If I were Mom, I would either work hard to earn more money to let Xiaobounding enjoy more blessings or go to worship Buddha more and try to have a second child as soon as possible, making Xiaobounding your real child so that you can continue your relationship. Why come to trouble me, a slave who has already rebelled? These words completely enraged her. She raised the milk tea she bought for me and was about to throw it at me. I held my phone and smiled at her. Finally, her hand still stopped in mid-air. And then she turned around and left without looking back. 15. As soon as the college entrance examination results came out, Qing Yanchuan called, How did you do in the exam? Josie, sorry, I didn't get into Tsinghua University. I got into a university in Beijing, Peking University. Peking University is also okay, it's not far from me. The person on the other end of the phone was unexpectedly excited. I even suspected that I had misheard. Because Qing Yanchuan rarely showed fluctuating emotions when speaking, when we were studying before, I even suspected that he might be an AI. To avoid embarrassment for both of us, I quickly interrupted him and said, well, I got into a university in Beijing. It's not the one abbreviated as Peking University. It doesn't matter. It's great that you can come to Beijing. We're in the same city, so we'll have many opportunities to meet. Ugh. How can a top student be so good at making assumptions? The reason I'm going to the capital is, of course, to make money. When else should I invest in companies or buy houses if not now? However, it's not appropriate to say that directly. Let's just consider it a beautiful misunderstanding. Although I didn't get into Peking University, Qin did. Hehe, that's also a great thing. Now we have connections in both Tsinghua University and Peking University. I will charge towards future entrepreneurs and scientists with my wealth. This year, my total income has rolled up to 20 million yuan. However, Qin doesn't seem very happy. She's confused. Clearly, my grades were so good before repeating the year, but how come my scores in the subsequent exams were not ideal? She even suspected that I had damaged my brain when I rolled down the stairs. I was looking at the grade report with great joy. After all, I actually managed to get into a 211 university. Not bad, I'm really excellent. But she reached out and pressed my shoulder, looking serious, and said, this shouldn't be your grade. There are also people who do better in the second attempt after repeating the year. Do you want to work harder so that we can study at Peking University together? Me, I'm not eating luliumii, a kind of sour snack. Am I looking for trouble? I was very touched and then refused her. I almost died laughing. Next time, it might be even worse. And I might not even be able to get into a first-tier university. I have nothing now, but I'm very aware of my own abilities. With this grade, I guess it's probably because my grandma put in some effort from down there. As soon as I think of my grandma, my heart feels a bit sour. I quickly asked someone to build a luxurious tomb for her and burn 20 Gene of paper money for her. Before, I was afraid that others would figure out my financial situation. So I only dared to burn the paper money for her privately. Now, with a bodyguard, I feel more secure. The people in the village were very enthusiastic. They gave me a bunch of fruits and melons and asked me where I got the money. I said it was a reward from the school because I did well in the exam, and I gave the bodyguard's sister the identity of a teacher. The main thing is that when you're out and about, you create your own identity. On the way back, passing through the muddy rural roads, I endured it and decided to come up with an excuse after studying in university for a year or two. Don't show off your wealth. Don't show off your wealth. 16. I didn't deliberately inquire about what happened to Xia Yanli and Ji Sanning later, but they were so famous that I could always hear gossip about them from other classmates. Xia Yanli took the college entrance examination this time. He barely managed to get into a second-tier university, but he didn't go. And he didn't plan to repeat the year again either. Instead, he went abroad to donate a kidney to Ji Sanning. What a touching love story. I thought they would stay in the United States and we would never meet again in this life, but in my sophomore year of university, they returned to China. By then, Xia Yanli's leg was already lame. It seemed that he had a really tough time in the United States. He had no degree and no particular skill. After the money he took there was all spent. He could only earn his living expenses by waiting tables and washing dishes, and Ji Sanning had gotten used to spending money lavishly. He had lost a kidney and was living a too strenuous life, and his body couldn't hold up at all. Less than a year after arriving in the United States, he had already started taking medicine. At this time, Ji Sanning's mother had disappeared without a trace. There was no other way. After struggling for another year, they chose to return to China. After returning to China, Xia Yanli originally wanted to ask his parents for some support, but he found that his mother had already given birth to a second child and clearly told him that everything at home was reserved for his younger brother. It had nothing to do with him anymore. All these changes happened too quickly. No matter how much Xia Yanli pleaded with his parents, he only got one sentence: "You've grown up. This is the path you chose yourself, you can't blame us." Ji Sanning originally wanted to live with my parents, but the house at home had already been sold by my parents for her surgery, so, as a last resort, Xia Yanli had to rent a place and support her through part-time jobs. My parents were getting old and couldn't take care of themselves. The subsidy my mother gave was limited. Gradually, Ji Sanning's emotions became more and more irritable. She self-harmed more and more frequently. She always asked Xia Yanli if he hated her and if he blamed her. No matter how Xia Yanli explained, she didn't believe him, and Xia Yanli was constantly busy with various heavy physical jobs every day and was already overwhelmed. He became less and less patient with her. The breaking point of the conflict was when Xia Yanli finally found a part-time job in a bar, but there he saw Ji Sanning kissing a man. He rushed over and punched the man, and was soon pinned to the ground by the man's lackeys. During the conflict, someone, he didn't know who, smashed a stool down on him. His left leg was broken on the spot. Afterward, the man compensated him with a little money, and Ji Sanning directly moved out of their rented house. Before leaving, she accused Xia Yanli, saying, "Yanli, I have no other choice. I just feel that I'm dragging you down to death. This is the only thing I can do. I'm sorry for you in this life. I'll repay you in the next life." She left without a backward glance. She only left him with a messy and moldy room. He looked at himself in the bathroom mirror and felt that he was so strange. He was wondering how he had become like this. That night, he drank a lot of wine, taking advantage of the alcohol. He asked Ji Sanning out to meet. He said he still couldn't let go of her and wanted to give her a gift that she would never forget in her life. Perhaps Ji Sanning was too confident. She actually thought that Xia Yanli wouldn't blame her. She went to the appointment full of enthusiasm. As a result, he splashed a bottle of sulfuric acid on her face. Almost her entire face was disfigured. After splashing the sulfuric acid, Xia Yanli rode a motorcycle and fled. It was really ironic that the money for the motorcycle was the compensation money given by the man in the bar. He didn't have a fixed plan. He slept under a remote overpass for a night. He had a very beautiful dream that night. He dreamed that he didn't go to see Ji Songning off and completely cut off contact with her. He also dreamed that he was with that woman, Zhou Ziyi. In the dream, she wasn't as sharp-tongued and acrimonious as she was now. She was so gentle, she comforted him and did her best to help him. He realized that she might have misunderstood about the meal card recharge. However, for some reason, he just couldn't say it out loud, because she was really too good in the dream. Until before the wedding, Qing Yanchuan came to see him. He gave them a wedding gift, which was a pair of expensive couple watches. He was clearly very angry, but he couldn't find any words to say to him. He thought that the gift was definitely not for him. He must still be thinking about Zhou Ziyi. So what about Zhou Ziyi? Did she really like him, or was she just touched that he secretly recharged her meal card when she was down and out? Thinking like this, he became more and more uncomfortable. He always lost his temper with her over trivial matters, such as matters related to inviting people and arranging seats for the wedding. He also repeatedly asked her why she liked him. Whenever she mentioned their high school days, he would immediately interrupt her furiously. Until Ji Songning arrived, he completely exploded. He was so hypocritical that it was disgusting. He deliberately put all the blame on her. In this way, he could convince himself that it wasn't just him who was lying to her, but she was also lying to herself. They were both equally despicable people. He really didn't mean to kill her. It was an accident. After waking up from the dream, he understood everything. What happened in the dream should be real. Zhou Ziyi had been reborn, but why? Why did she want to harm him like that? Why was she so concerned about it? He had to go and find her to ask for an explanation. 17. After Ji Songning was disfigured, Xia Yanli disappeared. Qing Yanchuan was very nervous for a while. He would come to the apartment to pick me up for class every day and send me home at night. I didn't know how to deal with the relationship between him and me. In fact, I kind of hated my humble appearance in front of Xia Yanli in my previous life. I repeatedly asked myself, could I really still like someone, or was it just out of gratitude again? I also didn't want to waste Qing Yanchuan's time and energy, so I chose to be straightforward and gave him a card. I expressed my gratitude to him. It was a lingering autumn rain in Beijing that day, and the streets were desolate. He seemed to have lost a lot of weight during this period. After I finished my polite words of gratitude, he just looked at me in silence. Time seemed to stop at that moment, until he pushed the card back and said, Zhou Ziyi, you're overthinking it. I don't need your repayment. Then he stood up and left. I sat on the chair, looking at his receding figure, and didn't move for a long time. My heart felt a bit sour, but I couldn't tell the reason. I'm already very satisfied with my current life, and I don't want any changes. Time is the most confusing thing. Slowly, we almost forgot about Xia Yanli, until, on Christmas Day, there was a thick layer of snow in Beijing. I was looking for my car in the basement. A hand suddenly pulled me into the darkness, and then a handkerchief soaked with anesthetic was pressed over my mouth and nose. I quickly held my breath. I didn't completely lose consciousness, but I felt weak all over and my head was dizzy. I closed my eyes and didn't dare to provoke him anymore. Then, when he wasn't paying attention, I first pressed the volume button, which was the easiest to reach, and pressed it hard, hoping to turn the volume to the lowest, since my hands were tied. I couldn't see either. During this process, I tried many times but couldn't make a call, until when Xia Yanli was driving and not paying attention, the screen of my phone suddenly lit up. I quickly answered the call. I deliberately pretended to be just a bit awake and desperately made a sound, saying, Xia Yanli, where are you taking me? You're awake. Fortunately, you're awake, or it wouldn't be fun. Then he didn't say anything, and neither did I. I kept biting my tongue to keep myself awake, until Xia Yanli took me to an abandoned factory. I immediately shouted, this is the Yunjia textile factory in Yanjiao. This factory has been abandoned for a long time. What are you taking me here for? I turned sideways to prevent him from seeing my phone with the lit screen. What can I do? Our wedding wasn't even completed, right? You once said you wanted to be with me for the rest of your life. Why are you so heartless? Are you crazy? What are you talking about? I don't understand. You don't understand. Then you deliberately made me give up the college entrance examination to send Ji Songning off. Xia Yanli, are you insane? Did I make you give up the college entrance examination? You have a big face. Who called me dozens of harassing calls to ask me? By the way, I don't think I ever told you the specific location and flight information in the end, right? If it wasn't for that status update of yours back then, would I have done that? What I post is my freedom. Why don't you blame Pangu for creating the world? so that someone like you could appear in this world after countless lifetimes. I can't argue with you now. But you're more likable than in the previous life. Let's complete the unfinished procedures now, okay?" As he was talking, he was choking my neck and covering my mouth and nose with the handkerchief soaked with anesthetic again. When I woke up again, it was when Xia Yanli bit my neck. The sharp pain made me wake up instantly. I had already been put on a white wedding dress by him. He dragged me up the stairs. I struggled violently, and the memories of my previous life before I died resurfaced again. Intense panic enveloped me. In an instant, I even thought about dying together with him. My hands were tied, so I could only take the opportunity to crash into him when he was in an intense emotional state. He was so lucky that he didn't roll down the stairs. Instead, he reached out and grabbed me, but accidentally, I heard a crisp sound from his ankle. He squatted down, holding his foot and crying out in pain a few times. I took the opportunity to try to run away, but he dragged me back. He swung his arm and slapped me. I just felt a buzzing in my ears. My vision went blurry. Why are you so naughty? Did it hurt? My heart really aches." He pretended to be pitiful and held my face in his hands, wiping the blood from the corner of my mouth with his thumb. I bit down on his hand with all my strength. My mouth was full of the smell of blood. He kept struggling, but I didn't let go. He started elbowing my head. I still held on tightly until he kicked me in the stomach. I curled up in the corner from the kick. When I let go, I spat out a piece of his skin. Xia Yanli grimaced in pain. It took him a long time to recover. It seemed that he was still angry. He walked towards me, grabbed my hair, forced me to look at him, and slapped me a few more times. My head became more and more dizzy, and finally, I had less and less strength to resist. He directly dragged me to the rooftop. He choked my neck tightly and said, Let's start over. From now on, we won't hurt each other anymore and live a good life, okay?" I didn't say anything and was still trying to struggle. He dragged me step by step to the edge of the rooftop. I suddenly understood his intention. He wanted to jump off the building with me. He's really crazy and out of his mind. If I had another chance, I would definitely kill him at the very beginning. Just when I had completely despaired, Qin Yanchuan's voice suddenly rang out. "Xia Yanli, let her go. We can talk about other conditions," he said as he carefully looked at me and Xia Yanli's hands. You're here too. How dare you come, Qin Yanchuan? The thing I regret the most is being brothers with you. Why the hell did you come to show off that crappy watch? If you hadn't come, how could I have lost control and treated her like that? How could things between me and her have ended up like this? Xia Yanli and Ji Sunning are truly a perfect match, a match made in heaven. There are no two people more similar. They always shift the blame onto others. Qin Yanchuan didn't seem to understand what he was saying, but he chose to go along with him. "So the person you hate the most is me, right? Then you should take revenge on me. Let her go. And I'll let you take your revenge on me, Qin Yanchuan. This has nothing to do with you. It has nothing at all to do with you," I shouted out of control. TSK, you two really like each other now. This is interesting. With one hand holding me and the other hand, he threw a dagger over and said, "Then stab yourself twice, and I'll think about it, otherwise, I'll push her off right now." Qin Yanchuan picked up the dagger and just took a look at me. Then he stabbed himself without hesitation. I felt my mind go blank. Tears rolled down involuntarily. With that stab, his beige sweater was covered in blood. "Hurry up and continue," Xia Yanli urged excitedly. The second stab soon came down. He could hardly stand anymore and knelt down on the ground halfway. Seeing his weak appearance, Xia Yanli pounced on him, choking his neck. He said, "Weren't you so arrogant before? Weren't you so amazing? Why are you now like a half-dead stray dog in front of me? My life is completely messed up. Why should you two have a good life? Why, let's all." Before he could finish his words, I picked up the dagger on the ground and stabbed him in the lower back. He turned around in horror and looked at me. The rope that tied me up had been broken free by me. And the price was that I had broken my left thumb. The sound of police sirens came from a distance. I couldn't care about anything else anymore. I stumbled towards Qin Yanchuan. The intense pain in my hand seemed to go numb at this moment. I gently helped him up and shouted at his eyes that were about to close, "Somebody, help, come quickly." I reached out and tried to stop the blood flowing from his wound. But the blood was like a river bursting its banks, and in a short while, it dyed my hands red. His eyes were about to close. I cried and begged him, "Qin Yanchuan, please, don't close your eyes, okay, hold on, okay, please, Qin Yanchuan, I'm really scared now." 18. Qing Yanchuan was in the emergency room for a full 6 hours before he was out. The last time I was that scared was when my grandma passed away. Thankfully, in the end, it was a close call, and he pulled through. She came to see us several times and was so scared that she burst into tears. My body was okay, there were just some bruises from the beating, and my left thumb hurt a bit and I couldn't use much strength. On the 3rd day of his hospitalization, he could eat some liquid food. I asked someone to cook some light porridge and send it over. I fed him with one hand. Looking at my a bit clumsy appearance, he couldn't help but say, "Boss Joe is so rich, why bother doing it yourself? You can just pay someone to do it." Unexpectedly, this person is so petty. He still remembers the thing about me rejecting him before, but looking at his pale lips, even though I'm very good at being sarcastic, I couldn't say anything sarcastic. I could only coax him carefully and say, "How can I feel at ease if someone else does it? What's there to worry about?" Never confuse gratitude with affection. You don't have a boyfriend yet. Be careful that your future boyfriend might mind. That's true, you. He turned his head away and stopped looking at me. I put down the spoon, reached out and pinched his ear and said, so I carefully asked myself, how could it just be gratitude? I like you so much that I dare not make a decision easily. His ear gradually turned red and became hot under my fingertips. He still didn't turn his head back. I leaned down gently, kissed his ear, and then kissed his chin. He turned his head back in surprise and looked at me. I then kissed his lips. Qing Yanchuan. Thank you for pulling through. Thank you for approaching me again and again. 19. Xia Yanli was punished for multiple crimes and was sentenced to a full 20 years in prison, except for Ji Songning, who went to see him wearing a veil. No one else cared about his outcome anymore. The crimes he committed will be judged by the law, and we are going to start a new life. Sometimes people can't trap themselves within their own limitations. I deliberately cut off all ties with the past. I don't want to recall those bad things anymore. Nor do I want to make myself sharp and crazy. Regarding the follow-up issues with my parents, I also handed them over to the corresponding institutions. Someone will give them a living allowance regularly every month, and I will no longer have direct contact with them. Unexpectedly, in both my previous life and this life, I actually received an apology from my mother for the first time. She frantically looked for me. It took her a long time to find out where I was going to university. She was eager to see me, but when she came, Qing Yanchuan and I had already left Beijing. Qing Yanchuan went abroad for further studies, and I took the opportunity to manage the business in his country. Besides, I also wanted to change the environment and relax my mood. She looked for everyone she could, even finding Qin Shi. According to Qin Shi, she was a bit strange. She repeatedly confirmed with her whether I was still alive. She said she just wanted to see me once, just once. I didn't agree. I just asked someone to bring her a message. I have already repaid the life that belongs to my mother once. There's no need for us to meet in this life. I know very little about the subsequent matters. I only know that she kicked Ji Songning out of the house. She wrote a lot of letters wanting to send them to me, but she didn't have my address. It's too late, and it doesn't matter anymore. I will never look back. 20. Maybe because of the sudden huge emotional fluctuations. One night I had a very long dream. I dreamed of the way Qing Yanchuan went crazy after I died in my previous life. He kidnapped and imprisoned Xia Yanli. The gentle and peaceful scholar picked up a butcher's knife and tortured the person who killed me, making him suffer terribly, until the police found them. Later, Xia Yanli was imprisoned for manslaughter. Qing Yanchuan was also sentenced to prison for intentional injury. He tried to commit suicide many times in prison. It wasn't until his supervisor found out about his research on a time machine that could travel through time, then he found the will to live. I accompanied him in the dream for a very long time. Qing Yanchuan spent a full 20 years but still didn't succeed in his research. In his later years, he became obsessed with theology. He began to pray to the gods to give us a chance. He had no other way, until during an outdoor research trip, he met an old Taoist priest. The other person told him that by accumulating good deeds, he would receive good rewards. He could do some meritorious deeds in my name. In this way, I would have a good outcome. Just like that, he stopped researching the time machine and instead spent his time on other research and inventions. He donated all the money from those patents in my name. Before he passed away, he seemed to see me and said, "Zhou Ziyi, I have done everything I could. But it seems that there really is no medicine for regret in this world." After waking up from the dream, I looked at the person sleeping soundly beside me. I just felt that it really seemed like it was just a dream. Is he so stubborn? what's so good about me? 21. Qing Yanchuan will never tell Zhou Ziyi that he fell in love with her even earlier than she knew. At that time, his father had just passed away. The family's financial situation was not good. He went to his grandmother's house in another village to play. Passing by her yard, the peaches inside were big and red. Afraid that he would be laughed at if he stayed any longer, he quickly left in a hurry, but suddenly a little girl stopped him. Hey, you're Granny Hua's grandson, right? My name is Zhou Ziyi. Can you help me pick 2 peaches? I'll treat you to them. When he heard that, he was immediately delighted and climbed up the tree to pick a lot for her. The clear sound of slapping echoed particularly loudly in the quiet room. When he left, out of the corner of his eye, he saw a large basin of bright red peaches placed in the main room of her house. The peaches that day were the most delicious peaches he had ever eaten in his life. Later, his grandmother became seriously ill, and he and his mother received the news very late. As soon as they entered the house, they saw that there was still uneaten fresh food on their grandmother's table. It was all the food she had sent every day when she came to her grandmother's house during the winter vacation. She didn't seem to think it was a big deal. She was always smiling, like a little sun. Later, he learned that her life wasn't as he had imagined. In high school, his mother's job improved a lot. He went to work part-time as a tutor. On the one hand, he wanted to contribute to the family. On the other hand, throughout the whole semester, he had never seen her order any meat dishes. He wanted to find out the reason, but he was afraid of disturbing her. In the end, he could only choose this method. He originally thought that he had no expectations, but when Xia Yanli told him that they liked each other, he had never been so angry before. But can love be forced? Was he going to demand repayment for his kindness? She drew such a clear line. For explaining just a few math problems, she would send pile after pile of peaches to express her gratitude. He thought, the peaches in those 2 years were really sour.